Chapter 1081. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian was totally immersed in his cultivation and comprehending the concepts. Comprehending 3 different concepts at once gave him a whole new feeling. It was extremely satisfying and not something he had ever experienced before. After cultivating for one night, Duan Ling Tian was very happy even though there was no substantial improvement in his strength. He was glad his consciousness was split into 3, and he could comprehend 3 different concepts at once. Elder Duan Ling Tian, who had just finished freshening up when the sun was high in the sky, heard a servant calling out to him outside his door. Yes, when Duan Ling Tian opened his door, the servant outside passed him a spatial ring and said, "Elder Duan, the clan leader asked me to hand this over to you." The clan leader was here. Duan Ling Tian was a little surprised when he heard the servant's words. He took the spatial ring from the servant. Yes, the servant nodded. Clan leader came early this morning. He left this spatial ring to me before he left because he didn't want to disturb your rest, Elder Duan. Duan Ling Tian nodded and twirled the spatial ring in his hand for a while before returning to his room. After he closed the door, he pricked his finger to establish a blood ownership claim with the spatial ring. It seems like the clan leader is quite anxious. He shook his head and smiled before he looked inside the spatial ring. He knew what the clan leader wanted him to do. Just like he had expected, there were many medicinal materials in the spatial ring. Additionally, there was a list that listed several types of grade 1 pills that the Lu clan wanted him to refine. However, the requested number of pills made Duan Ling Tian speechless. Are they looking down on me? Duan Ling Tian could not help but smile bitterly after glancing at the pile of medicinal materials in the spatial ring and the amount of grade 1 pills jotted down on the list. Based on the requested number of grade 1 pills on the list, only 30% of the medicinal materials in the spatial ring was needed. I would only use 30% of the medicinal materials at the most to form the number of requested grade 1 pills on the list. Well, since the clan leader wants to gift me the medicinal materials, I can only accept it, Duan Ling Tian muttered to himself as a bright smile appeared on his face. If the Lu clan's clan leader, Lu Rui, was around to hear what Duan Ling Tian said, he would have been rendered speechless. In Lu Rui's opinion, the number of medicinal materials he provided was a little insufficient considering the number of grade 1 pills requested on the list. Ordinarily, a grade 1 alchemist would find it difficult to form the number of grade 1 pills requested on the list even if he depleted all the medicinal materials in the spatial ring. That was because the success rate of a grade 1 alchemist in forming pills was usually between 20% to 30%. In fact, they rarely exceeded 30%. Even the guild master of Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land had a success rate of around 25% when it comes to refining pills. In the Lu clan's 10,000 years of history, the only one who had more than 30% of success rate in forming grade 1 pills was the founder of Lu clan. Among the tens of grade 1 alchemists in the later generation, the highest success rate they had was at 28%. The task he gave Duan Ling Tian needed a success rate of 30% to fulfill it. Naturally, he was not trying to find fault with Duan Ling Tian. He would not be unhappy even if Duan Ling Tian depleted all the medicinal materials in the spatial ring and still failed to form the requested number of grade 1 pills on the list. He did this to test Duan Ling Tian's medicine refinement level. After all he knew about that Duan Ling Tian was that he could manifest grade 1 pill fire, and he was a grade 1 alchemist with a profound insight on the medicine refinement Dao. As for Duan Ling Tian's actual medicine refinement level, he knew nothing about it. Fortunately, Duan Ling Tian was not aware of Lu Rui's thoughts. Otherwise, he would have scoffed at him. The clan leader wanted to test if his success rate of forming grade 1 pills would exceed 30%. They looked down on him too much. It should be noted that he had the Rebirth Martial Emperor's techniques and lifelong experience in refining medicine. In terms of refining medicine, there was no difference between him and the Rebirth Martial Emperor. As long as he was not distracted, his success rate was 100%. These medicinal materials are necessary to refine grade 1 pills. They're all extraordinarily valuable, however, more than 70% of it will belong to me after today. Before Duan Ling Tian began to refine the pills, he glanced at the pile of medicinal materials in the spatial ring again. The smile on his face became wider and wider. He took a moment to calm him down before he prepared to refine the grade 1 pills requested on the list. Grade 1 life recovery pills were obviously on the list. As for the others, there were grade 1 pills similar in difficulty to refine as grade 1 life recovery pills. However, the effects were not as potent. That was why it was not as widely used as the Grade 1 life recovery pills. Obviously, since Grade 1 life recovery pills were healing pills, it would be useful if anyone was injured. As for the other pills, the effects were not potent as well. How much should the purity be at? After Duan Lingtian retrieved his cauldron and prepared to refine the requested Grade 1 pills, he suddenly thought of this. He was at a loss as to what to do next. With his medicine refinement level, it was undoubtedly very simple for him to refine Grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity. If I refine Grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity, will it scare the clan leader? Duan Lingtian had to consider this issue. Oh, well, I'll hold back my strength a little and refine pills with purity around 90%. Duan Lingtian made a decision after he considered the help Lu clan had provided him. Naturally, he did not want to stand out. In fact, it was not difficult for him to refine pills with more than 95% purity. The pills on the list were all very basic and ordinary Grade 1 pills in Duan Lingtian's eyes. If he was willing, he certainly could refine the pill with more than 95% purity. I think pills with 90% purity are sufficient to give the clan leader a scare. If I refine a pill with more than 95% purity, the clan leader might get a heart attack. Because Duan Lingtian did not want to stand out, he decided not to refine the requested Grade 1 pills with more than 95% purity for the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. 90% purity would have to be enough. Duan Lingtian was finally done thinking things through, and he began to refine the Grade 1 pills. Meanwhile, the spacious central main hall in the Lu clan was crowded with people. The Lu clan's clan leader, Lu Rui, sat on the main seat. Beneath him, a fat old man and a thin old man sat on each of his sides. Apart from the size difference, their height difference was also quite significant. The fat one was short and looked like a ball. The thin one was tall and looked like a bamboo. They were among the three strongest guardian elders in the Lu clan, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. Both were martial monarch powerhouses. A group of Lu clan's elders including Lu Su stood beneath them. The Lu clan's elders all had one thing in common. They were all focused on the medicine refinement Dao. Almost all of the elders were Grade 3 alchemists apart from a few who were Grade 2 alchemists. None of them were Grade 4 alchemists. In the Lu clan, there were two ways of becoming an elder. First, non-alchemist who focused on the martial Dao must attain cultivation at the 9th level void transformation or above. Second, alchemists must be Grade 3 alchemists or better. Due to that reason, ordinary Grade 4 alchemists in the Lu clan were not qualified to be Lu clan's elders unless their cultivation was at the 9th level void transformation or above. Among those who were present, only Lu Yuan and Lu Gui were not alchemists. In other words, they simply came just to join in the fun. Clan leader, what pills did you request Elder Duan to refine? Lu Yuan asked as he narrowed his eyes to look at Lu Rui. After Lu Yuan said that, all the Lu clan's elders shifted their eyes to Lu Rui. They were also curious about the matter. Lu Rui smiled faintly as he listed the Grade 1 pills he requested. Initially, nobody thought anything was amiss. However, when Lu Rui disclosed the number of Grade 1 pills he had requested and the number of medicinal materials he gave Duan Lingtian in the spatial ring, Lu Su gasped and asked, "Clan leader, with the number of medicinal materials you prepared for Elder Duan, he'll need at least a 30% success rate of forming pills to produce the amount of pills you requested, right?" 30% success rate in forming pills. In our Lu clan's history, only the founder of Lu clan could do something like this. Clan leader, you're making things difficult for Elder Duan. Elder Duan won't feel dissatisfied and leave in a huff, will he? The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. Most of them were worried Duan Lingtian would leave Lu clan in anger due to Lu Rui's provocation. At that time, the party that would suffer a loss would be the Lu clan. Clan leader, although I'm not an alchemist, after being in the family for such a long time, even I know that most Grade 1 alchemists rarely achieve a 30% success rate when forming the pills, Lu Gui said with a frown. Clan leader, what if Elder Duan really get angry because of this and leave the Lu clan? It'll be a huge loss for us. Why don't I send some more medicinal materials over? Lu Yuan added. Elders, please don't worry. I'm doing it to test Elder Duan's skills. I'm not trying to provoke him. Lu Rui smiled when he saw how worried the elders were. However, he did not take them seriously. He only said, besides, based on my interaction with Elder Duan, he's definitely not so petty. Clan leader, Before Lu Rui finished speaking, he was suddenly interrupted by a loud voice from outside. Elder Duan asked me to hand you the pills you requested him to refine. Chapter 1082. What? Lu Rui's smile froze on his face as a hint of shock and incredulity appeared in his eyes when he heard the message from outside. Pa! A faint sound reverberated in the air. Lu Rui had involuntarily broken the armrest. He did not seem to have noticed it as he sat there with a blank expression. Both Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who sat beneath Lu Rui, simultaneously gulped before they turned to look at Lu Rui. Clan leader, you said you've just sent the medicinal materials and the list over to Elder Duan this morning? Lu Yuan asked with a startled expression. Yes, how can Elder Duan finish refining the pills in one morning? Lu Gui asked. After the rest of the Lu clan's elders recovered from the shock, they looked at Lu Rui with a puzzled expression. They too wanted to know what was going on. I don't know as well. Lu Rui shook his head as he frowned. After a moment of silence, Lu Rui unfurrowed his brows as if he had thought of something. He muttered, maybe Elder Duan already has some of the pills I requested, that's why he asked someone to hand me those first. Lu Rui's voice was not loud, but it was clearly heard by the Lu clan's elders. That should be it. That's the only possibility. The types of grade 1 pill requested by the clan leader would need at least 10 days to half a month to complete. Elder Duan is a grade 1 alchemist, he probably has grade 1 life recovery pills on hand, maybe, he sent those grade 1 life recovery pills to the clan leader first. The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. Each of them had their own opinion. Come in. Lu Rui summoned the Lu clan's disciple who had brought the pills over. Clan leader. The Lu clan disciple entered the hall and handed over the spatial ring respectfully before he turned to leave. After the Lu clan's disciple left, everyone's eyes shifted to Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. More accurately, their eyes landed on the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hands. Elder Duan is a knowledgeable grade 1 alchemist, but we don't know what's the purity of the grade 1 pills he refined. He should be stronger than Guild Master Cheng from the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. That's not necessarily true. You should know that grade 1 pills refined by Guild Master Cheng sometimes have more than 70% purity. The group of Lu clan's elders began to whisper among themselves. However, their eyes did not leave the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hands. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lu Rui pricked a finger and dripped a drop of blood to establish a blood ownership claim with the spatial ring. In the next moment, he checked the space in the spatial ring with his mind. When he saw the spatial ring was densely packed with neatly placed pill bottles, his eyes widened. How come there are so many pill bottles? Does Elder Duan has the habit of using one pill bottle to store one pill? On the Cloud Continent, there were many alchemists with weird temperament who liked to store one pill in one pill bottle. He had heard of them before. It's too wasteful. Although Lu Rui felt that storing one pill in one pill bottle was wasteful, he still took one of the pill bottles and opened it to take a look. He was mentally prepared to see one pill inside the pill bottle. However, his eyes widened again when he saw inside the bottle 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Lu Rui realized the pill bottle contained 10 pills. The rich medicinal aroma wafted out. The smell invaded his nostrils and relaxed him. In ordinary circumstances, he would have immediately discovered the difference in the grade 1 pills in this pill bottle from the rich medicinal aroma. However, he was not paying attention to it. What about the rest of the pill bottles? He hurriedly closed the pill bottle in his hand and checked on the others. Eventually, he discovered that every pill bottle contained 10 pills. More importantly, these pills were the pills he requested on the list. The exact types of grade 1 pills with the correct quantity that he requested. Lu Rui was dumbstruck after he confirmed it. Both Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who sat beneath him, were puzzled. The group of Lu clan's elders in the main hall was getting antsy. They were curious about what could make the clan leader lose his composure. Clan leader, what's wrong? Lu Yuan and Lu Gui asked simultaneously. Lu Rui finally recovered after he heard their question. He took a deep breath before looking at everyone present as they all stared at him. The types of grade 1 pill I requested on the list, Elder Duan completed it. Regardless of the type or quantity, he fulfilled the request perfectly. Lu Rui said as he looked at the group of Lu clan's elders solemnly. His gaze was complicated. Boom! When Lu Rui finished his sentence, it was as though thunder had struck. Every elder, including Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, the guardian elders of Lu clan, was stunned. The clan leader's request was completed perfectly by Elder Duan. Regardless of the type or quantity, he fulfilled it without any deviation. It took a while for the group of Lu clan's elders to regain their senses. When they recovered from the shock, they began to discuss among themselves. The main hall became as noisy as a market. Elder Duan managed to refine all the pills requested by the clan leader. That's impossible. How can he refine so many pills in one morning? I think he probably already has some of the pills, so he just handed them over. The statement sparked another discussion. Apart from that, I can't think of any other possibilities. Even if someone asks Guild Master Cheng of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land to personally refine those pills, he probably needs 10 days to half a month to fulfill it. And that's if he doesn't sleep and rest. Completing it in one morning. That's impossible. The Lu clan's elders quickly reached a conclusion. Elder Duan had a sufficient number of grade 1 pills that the clan leader had requested, so he just handed them over. If Elder Duan is asked to refine the pills with the medicinal materials given by the clan leader, he won't be able to refine enough pills as requested, one Lu clan's elder said. The others were deeply convinced by his words. After all, that request required a 30% success rate of forming pills. No, a voice filled with shock reverberated in the air and drowned out the voices of the Lu clan's elders. All the elders immediately looked toward the source of the voice. It was the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, who was sitting on the main seat at the very top. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lu Rui's hands moved as fast as lightning. Following that, one after another pill bottles appeared in his hands. He opened them and retrieved several pills. At the same time, a rich medicinal aroma wafted through the entire main hall. All the Lu clan's elders immediately felt soothed and relaxed. Some of them even took a deep breath and closed their eyes in enjoyment. They all enjoyed the smell of the medicinal aroma. Soon after, some of the Lu clan's elders regained their senses. The shock was apparent on their faces. Such strong medicinal aroma, only freshly refined pills that have not been left in the cauldron for more than a day have that aroma. One of the Lu clan's elders could not help chiming in. He was one of the grade 2 alchemists in Lu clan. He understood the characteristics of pills very well. The medicinal aroma of freshly refined pills was completely different from the medicinal aroma of pills that had been refined for more than a day. Nothing could affect it, and that included pill bottles and spatial rings. All the pills have this medicinal aroma, Lu Rui said solemnly. His face still carried a blank expression. He still did not completely recover from the shock. How's this possible? These pills have been refined for less than a day. Medicinal aroma won't lie, Soon after, the main hall erupted in a clamor. All the Lu clan's elders had a blank expression on their faces. They found this hard to believe. In their opinion, this was almost impossible. This means, these pills are refined by Elder Duan within a day. Lu Yuan asked in a daze after he gulped. Although I find it hard to believe, I have to believe the facts before my eyes. Elder Duan is not your ordinary grade 1 alchemist. Lu Rui gasped and said after he recovered from his shock. Lu Rui's words echoed in the ears of the stunned Lu clan's elders. All of them agreed with the clan leader. Does this mean, apart from being able to refine grade 1 pills at an unbelievable speed, his success rate is more than 30%? That seems to be the case. Monstrous, There was another uproar among the Lu clan's elders. It was still acceptable if he merely refined it quickly. If even his success rate was so high, how could the others compete? More importantly, Elder Duan is merely a young man around the age of 20. I thought my innate talent in refining medicine is pretty good since I managed to become a grade 2 alchemist at my age. However, I've wasted all those years living like a dog compared to him. One Lu clan's elder said before he sighed. He was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan. His words brought shame to the other Lu clan's elders. All of them lowered their heads. They felt like burying their heads in the sand. How's that possible? Shortly after, there was another shout. It shocked all the Lu clan's elders. They could tell it was the clan leader again. Their hearts jolted before they lifted their heads to look at Lu Rui. Did the clan leader discover something else? Chapter 1083. Bang! Just as the Lu clan elders shot their gazes at the clan leader Lu Rui, a loud bang was heard, jolting their hearts from fear. All they saw was Lu Rui standing from where he was sitting as if he had lost himself, breaking the chair before it fell to the ground. What happened exactly? What could make clan leader lose himself like that? It's definitely not something ordinary since the clan leader lost himself like that. We've to be mentally prepared. I thought so too, The Lu clan elders whispered among themselves as they continued looking at Lu Rui and prepared to the best of their abilities to mentally prepare themselves. Lu Rui stood at the front of the main hall holding a pill that dazzled in a faint glow in his hand. He had put other pills away, and Lu Rui's eyes were fixed on the pill in his hand as if he was possessed. What's wrong with the pill? All of a sudden, doubt arose in the hearts of many of the Lu clan elders. Following that, the elders turned their attention to the pill Lu Rui was holding in his hand. The pill dazzled with a faint glow as it gave off a pleasant medicinal fragrance. A grade 1 life recovery pill. They recognized the pill at first glance. How is that possible? Soon, the pupils of one of the older Lu clan elders shrunk. The shock on his face was as if he had seen something beyond belief. The Lu clan elder was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the clan. He was the old man who mocked himself to have wasted most of his life. I'm afraid, the purity of this life recovery pills is only slightly above 85%. The other Lu clan elder who was also a grade 2 alchemist wore a shocked expression on his face and mumbled. No, it's not just 85%. The purity of this life recovery pill is probably more than 90%. Apart from the two old men and the clan leader, the clan's last grade 2 alchemist spoke as well, looking extremely serious. 90%. A grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity beyond 90%. The entire Lu clan's main hall fell into dead silence as soon as the elder spoke. The jaws of the elders dropped as a look of disbelief appeared on their faces. However, this excluded guardian elders Lu Yuan and Lu Gui who majored in martial Dao. The rest of the elders were all grade 3 alchemists, and although they could tell that the purity of the pill the clan leader was holding onto was rather high, they dared not say how high the purity was. After all, it was a grade 1 pill. They were shocked to hear what the grade 2 alchemist elders were saying. Please take a look, 3 elders. At that moment, Lu Rui snapped back to his senses as he stood before them. He lifted his arm and tossed the grade 1 life recovery pill in his hand to one of the grade 2 alchemist elders. All of a sudden, the other 2 grade 2 alchemist elders surrounded him. The purity, it's almost 91%. Almost instantly, the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders confirmed the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill in their hand after a closer observation. 91%. The remaining grade 3 alchemist elders took a cold breath with eyes and faces filled with disbelief. Never would I have expected that Elder Duan would not only be able to refine medicine that quickly, with that kind of success rate and an unprecedented pill purity. Lu Yuan said in shock. Is Elder Duan really human? Lu Gui mumbled as his pupils shrunk. If he's not even human, could he be a demon? It's almost impossible for a demon to become an alchemist, let alone that freak of a grade 1 alchemist. Lu Yuan said. Clan leader, how about the purity of the other pills? The 3 grade 2 alchemist elders looked at Lu Rui with a burning desire in their eyes. Take a look for yourselves. Lu Rui took a deep breath and took out 3 medicinal pill bottles as he lifted his arm to throw the 3 bottles toward the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders. The 3 grade 2 alchemist elders took over the medicinal pill bottles and could not wait to open them. As they poured out the pills out of the bottles, their eyes were fixated on the pills that came pouring out. These pills seem to be quite pure as well. Yeah, the purity doesn't feel like it's any lower than the grade 1 life recovery pill. The bunch of grade 3 alchemist elders whispered among themselves. These pills, their purity is 91% as well. How is this possible? Soon, one of the grade 2 alchemist elders said in disbelief after examining 10 of the grade 1 pills in his hand. They're all 91% pure. The grade 3 alchemist elders around were stunned. The 10 grade 1 pills in this medicinal pill bottle are all 91% pure as well. The other grade 2 alchemist elder said before the crowd snapped back to their senses. This bottle too, the last grade 2 alchemist elder proceeded to say. Whoa! An uproar was heard as if thousands of voices were reverberating through the air as the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders spoke. How is that possible? Even Lu Yuan and Lu Gui who were considered outsiders could not help but feel shocked. Isn't the pill purity and medicine refinement very difficult to control for an alchemist? Yes, that's right, a grade 2 alchemist elder nodded. When we alchemists refine medicine, there would always be unforeseen circumstances, therefore, it would be very difficult to refine medicine with a precise purity figure. We can usually maintain it within a certain range, another grade 2 alchemist elder chimed in. He's capable of maintaining the pill's purity at 91%, this Elder Duan, he's the ultimate freak among all freaks. The last grade 2 alchemist elder said after putting the 10 pills on his hand away into the medicinal pill bottle. According to the recordings in the Lu clan's handbook that have been passed down for generations, even the ancestor who founded our clan could only refine grade 1 pills with 82% purity during his peak. The high purity aside, the problem is, it's completely unbelievable to be able to maintain every single grade 1 pill at a purity of 91%. If I didn't witness it with my own eyes, I would never believe that anyone had the capabilities to achieve something like this. Lu Rui took a deep breath and said with a deep voice. At this very moment, even him, the Lu clan leader who was from the alchemist family, could barely keep his cool. He had completely lost himself because this incident was too shocking. In the entire Cloud continent, I'm afraid it would be difficult to find another grade 1 alchemist that's on the same level as Elder Duan. Other grade 1 alchemists, even the guild master of the alchemist guild in the southern outer land, is nothing compared to him. Lu Rui's breathing hastened as his face was filled with excitement. I thought Elder Duan's just an ordinary grade 1 alchemist. I never would have guessed that he's such a terrifying grade 1 alchemist. Lu Yuan said, looking stunned. From what the alchemists present were saying, Lu Yuan noticed how terrifying this shockingly young grade 1 alchemist was. We have Elder Duan in the Lu clan. What else is there to worry about? Lu Gui's eyes lit up. Perhaps it's time that we discuss this with the Honorable Elder Duan about that thing, Lu Rui mumbled as he calmed his stirred emotion. Bang! A tower of flames majestically rose into the sky behind a spacious mansion eastward of the Lu clan estate. It was from a red-clad lady who hovered in midair. As the flames rose from her body, the red clothes on her body flapped, making her look like an elf on fire. Whoa! As flames rose from her body, heaven and earth energy was rumbling above her head and formed heaven and earth phenomenon eventually. It was then that the silhouettes of ancient horned dragons appeared one after the other. In a blink of an eye, the amount of ancient horned dragon silhouettes increased to 1,000. However, it was very unstable as it would fluctuate to 800 before elevating to 900. It was as if it was being restricted. You still can't do it. A young, purple-clad man stood at one side and asked as he watched the red-clad lady with every ounce of his attention. The lady merely nodded with her drop-dead gorgeous but cold. If looked closely, one would notice there was sweat dripping down from her forehead. The droplets that were continuously dripping formed a flowing stream down her beautiful face. Drip, drip, get some rest, the young purple-clad man said to the red-clad lady hovering in midair. He was Duan Tian Lang and the red-clad lady was Feng Tian Wu. To be exact, she was the Feng Tian Wu who lost her memory. However, Feng Tian Wu did not rest although Duan Ling Tian asked her to. She stubbornly increased the intensity of the flame burning around her body, allowing her fragrant sweat to continue dripping. Bang! Flames shot up to the sky, and the heaven and earth phenomenon above her head increased to more than 1,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. However, the number of ancient horned dragon silhouettes dropped and fluctuated between 800 to 900. Sigh. Duan Ling Tian could not help to let out a sigh as he watched. I never expected Tian Wu who lost her memory to lose control of her origin energy and profundity. To her, it's terribly unfamiliar territory to master control over energy that she once had. I'm afraid, she might need some time to take full control of her energy, Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. The current Feng Tian Wu no longer had a fire spirit body. More precisely, she was reborn from the past fire spirit body although the energy from the fire spirit body that imploded in her body back then almost killed her. During a critical moment, Duan Ling Tian who was devilized by the Devilseal tablet inserted a mysterious black energy into her body to suppress the fire spirit body's energy in her body. The energy from the fire spirit body collapsed completely after being suppressed and eventually merged into her body for her own use. However, the origin energy in her body was activated by the energy from the fire spirit body, causing her body to go through a drastic change. Chapter 1084, First Level Void Transformation Stage. That was Feng Tian Wu's current cultivation base. Back then, after the collapsed energy from the fire spirit body merged with her origin energy, it helped her origin energy to elevate itself all the way to the first level void transformation stage. Apart from first level void transformation stage's origin energy, the concept fragments in Feng Tian Wu's body had transformed completely into profundity fragments. Now, she was a first level void transformation martial artist who had mastered fire profundity. Unfortunately, she had yet to fully master her power ever since she lost her memory. However, it was something fortunate as well, or the sword that was directed at Duan Ling Tian when she had just woken up from her slumber would have been much faster than before. If that was really the case, Duan Lingtian would be too slow to dodge it, and she might not be able to recall the sword in time, causing it to pierce Duan Lingtian's heart. It was quite fortunate that Feng Tianwu had yet to fully control her strength after losing her memory, or it would have been a sure death for Duan Lingtian. Whoosh, 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 apart from Feng Tianwu getting used to her strength, there were gushes of ear-piercing whistles coming from a sword nearby. It was Shang Quan practicing with the sword. Perhaps, it's time to look for the clan leader. The spirit fruit and profound assimilation formation are the things that I and Shang Quan desperately need right now. Duan Lingtian glanced at Shang Quan and mumbled, "Elder Duan." Right at that moment, a bird-like voice not unlike an oriole came from afar but began getting closer. Xiao Yun. Duan Lingtian was doubtful as he looked at servant Xiao Yun, who walked into the backyard anxiously. "What happened? Why do you look so anxious?" "Elder Duan, the clan leader is here. He's waiting for you at the main hall," Xiao Yun said respectfully. The clan leader. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up and he began smiling. "Speak of the devil, I was just talking about Cao Cao and here he comes." "Who is Cao Cao?" Servant Xiao Yun could not help but be stunned at what Duan Lingtian said. Duan Lingtian was stunned and realized that there was no Cao Cao in this world. An idea flashed through his head. Duan Lingtian, who had no idea how to explain, decided to lie. "Cao Cao is how the people in our hometown addresses the clan leader." "Cao Cao is the clan leader? Really?" The servant Xiao Yun was a little surprised and said, "Elder Duan, please hurry, it's not good to let Cao Cao wait for too long." Duan Lingtian's lips twitched without him realizing after hearing what she said. The girl learned fast and applied what she learned right away. There was a main hall in the middle of the mansion Duan Lingtian was living in. However, he had never been here as the place was only used to welcome guests, which he never had. Clan leader. Arriving outside the main hall, Duan Lingtian noticed the familiar silhouette standing there. It was the clan leader of the Lu clan, Lu Rui. "Elder Duan." Lu Rui's eyes lit up and he stepped forward to welcome Duan Lingtian into the main hall himself. "Is there anything that I can do now that clan leader is here?" Although he figured that Lu Rui had to be here for the grade 1 pills that he asked someone to send to him this afternoon, Duan Lingtian pretended to be clueless. "Elder Duan, I've never expected your medicine refinement level to be this powerful. You've gotten to a heaven-defying level," Lu Rui exclaimed as he looked at Duan Lingtian with mixed feelings. The terrifyingly young grade 1 alchemist before his eyes did not only have stunning medicine refining speed, his success rate was rather high as well. The high success rate aside, its purity was ridiculously high as well. It was so heaven-defying that the purity was above 90%. In his memory, he only knew of someone in the Cloud Continent's history who was able to refine pills with a purity beyond 90%, and that person existed 10,000 years ago. He knew of such a person because of the ancestor who founded the Lu clan. The Lu clan's ancestor left behind a handbook that was passed down to this day. Only the clan leader of the Lu clan could read the handbook, while the rest did not even have the right to look at it. According to the recordings in the handbook, their ancestor was helped and advised by this person in the past, and that was their ancestor became an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. Following what our ancestor said, the powerhouse whom he treated as his master had a comprehension far beyond a grade 1 alchemist in the medicine refinement Tao. It was hard for Lu Rui to imagine how powerful that person was. From the handbook that ancestor left behind, I think that person was a martial emperor powerhouse. He was also the top martial emperor powerhouse on the Cloud Continent. Everyone called him a rebirth martial emperor. Lu Rui's heart jolted as he thought about this. I remember our ancestor noting in the handbook that rebirth was the martial emperor powerhouse's appellation. The reason why the martial emperor powerhouse was given the title rebirth was that he cultivated a powerful method. As opposed to ordinary people who could only live one life, that rebirth martial emperor could live 3 lives through that method. He was living his second life when our ancestor met him. Lu Rui seemed to recall something when he thought at this point and completely snapped back to his senses. His eyes opened wide and were fixated on the young purple-clad man before his eyes. It was then that his body began to shudder without him noticing. It was the shudder of his stirred emotion. According to the recordings in the handbook that our ancestor left behind, that rebirth martial emperor would require 10,000 years to rebirth. Looking at the time, the rebirth martial emperor should be reincarnated into his 3rd life now. Lu Rui's became short of breath as he looked at the young purple-clad man before his eyes. Could he be the rebirth martial emperor? If he is, his being an ultimate freak makes complete sense. The rebirth martial emperor was a powerful alchemist who had knowledge of various powerful medicine refinement methods, and he should possess immense medicine refinement experiences in his blood since he was reborn. Lu Rui became excited as he continued thinking in his mind. A martial emperor powerhouse. The young man who was standing before him was most probably a reincarnation of a martial emperor powerhouse. That being said, the young man before him would most possibly become a martial emperor powerhouse in the future. Clan leader, hey, are you alright? Noticing how Lu Rui was looking at him, Duan Lingtian got goosebumps and could not help but ask. Elder Duan. After Lu Rui was snapped back to his senses by Duan Lingtian, he took a deep breath and tried his best to suppress his stirred emotions. Then, he looked into Duan Lingtian's eyes and asked, do you know about the rebirth martial emperor? Rebirth martial emperor. What Lu Rui said was like thunder to Duan Lingtian. He was shocked and those words jolted his heart. Rebirth martial emperor. How does he know about the rebirth martial emperor? And why did he mention about the rebirth martial emperor in front of me? Questions began to pop out as Duan Lingtian began to experience shock. Nevertheless, he maintained his composure and did not show a thing in his expression. Who would know if the Lu Rui standing before him could be a descendant of the rebirth martial emperor's enemy? The Lu clan has existed for 10,000 years, that means the ancestor who founded the Lu clan existed 10,000 years ago. He might really have something to do with the rebirth martial emperor. Moreover, he must have left some notes or handbook, otherwise, it's impossible for Lu Rui, who's the clan leader 10,000 years later, to know of the rebirth martial emperor. Duan Lingtian thought of many things in the blink of an eye, but as he thought this over thoroughly, he did not show any emotions on his face. 10,000 years ago, the name Rebirth Martial Emperor was heard throughout the entire Cloud Continent's inner and outer lands as he was the top powerhouse in the continent. In that era, even a 3-year-old child would cry if he heard the name Rebirth Martial Emperor. One could only guess how powerful the name Rebirth Martial Emperor back in the day. Rebirth Martial Emperor, Martial Emperor Powerhouse. Duan Lingtian pretended to look lost. I've never heard of that. Although Duan Lingtian did not show any emotion on his face, Lu Rui was not one to be underestimated, especially since he was the clan leader of the Lu clan. He did not believe the show that Duan Lingtian put up, not one bit. Lu Zheng. Lu Rui continued to stare into Duan Lingtian's eyes and enunciated the 2 words slowly. He seemed to be confirming if Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the Rebirth Martial Emperor. Lu Zheng was the ancestor who founded the Lu clan 10,000 years ago. He was also an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. Lu Rui believed that as long as the young man before him was the reincarnation of the Rebirth Martial Emperor, he would definitely know of the Lu clan's ancestor. Lu Zheng. Duan Lingtian was stunned by instinct after hearing what Lu Rui said. He had never heard of that name. Lu Rui was a little disappointed after seeing how Duan Lingtian was lost in his eyes. Seems like I got it wrong. Elder Duan probably isn't the reincarnation of the Rebirth Martial Emperor. Lu Zheng. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted as he found memories related to that name as he browsed through the memories of both lives. The Rebirth Martial Emperor lived by instinct. The Rebirth Martial Emperor loved traveling when he was living his second life. He had helped and advised many from his hobby. Among the people he had a greater impression on was a person named Lu Zheng. In the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory, Lu Zheng had great talent in the medicine refinement Dao, so he spent some time advising him, which made them master and disciple for a little while. Although the Rebirth Martial Emperor did not officially take Lu Zheng as his disciple, he called the Rebirth Martial Emperor master anyway. 10,000 years ago, not many people knew about the 3 lives rebirth technique that the Rebirth Martial Emperor cultivated and the cultivation method of the technique. However, Lu Zheng was among the ones who knew. Duan Lingtian managed to guess quite a number of things by then, including why Lu Rui asked him if he knew about the Rebirth Martial Emperor out of the blue. Lu Rui undoubtedly would have guessed that he was the reincarnation of the Rebirth Martial Emperor. Seems like this Lu Zheng was the person who founded this alchemist family that has been passed down for 10,000 years. Also, Lu Zheng probably left behind some notes or a handbook that mentions the Rebirth Martial Emperor for the Lu clan descendants. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure these things out. Chapter 1085. Otherwise, it's unlikely Lu Rui would know about the Rebirth Martial Emperor's existence. Moreover, he even suspects that I'm the reincarnation of the Rebirth Martial Emperor, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Whoosh! The sound of the wind whistling reverberated by his head, and he immediately lifted his head to look at the sky. He saw a drop of fresh blood ascending into the sky from the main hall before it vanished in front of his eyes. At the same time, a voice entered his ears. I, Lu Rui, am taking this blood oath. I'll be killed by the 9 heavenly tribulation if I've any bad intention toward the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor. Lu Rui took the 9 heavenly tribulation oath. Bang, 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 comma. 9 claps of thunder sounded in response to Lu Rui's oath. Clan leader, what are you doing? Duan Lingtian was stunned. Did Lu Rui manage to confirm that Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor? It can't be. He had been careful since the beginning. He knew he did not let anything slip. Nothing, I just wanted to prove something. It's just that I thought you might be someone else, Lu Rui answered Duan Lingtian as he shook his head. He took such an oath because he was holding on to the last thread of hope. He wanted to confirm if Duan Lingtian was the rebirth martial emperor's reincarnation or not. Lu Rui had no regrets even if Duan Lingtian was not the rebirth martial emperor. He had already done everything he could. How do you know I'm not him? Duan Lingtian asked as soon as Lu Rui spoke. Lu Rui was initially stunned before his eyes lit up, and his breath quickened. Elder Duan, do you mean, you're really the rebirth martial emperor? I supposed. Duan Lingtian nodded lightly. I reincarnated through the 3 lives rebirth technique. I'll only be qualified to be called the rebirth martial emperor if I can cultivate to the martial emperor stage and rank first on Cloud Continent. 3 lives rebirth technique. When Duan Lingtian mentioned the 3 lives rebirth technique, Lu Rui no longer had any doubts about Duan Lingtian's identity. He was certain Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor. It had been 10,000 years. The number of people on Cloud Continent who knew about the rebirth martial emperor was undoubtedly small, let alone people who knew about the technique the rebirth martial emperor had cultivated. If he did not read the handbook that the Lu clan's ancestor left behind, it was unlikely he would know about the rebirth martial emperor and that the technique he cultivated would let him reincarnate 3 times. It's an honor to meet you. Please forgive me for not knowing your identity earlier. Lu Rui tried his best to suppress his chaotic emotion and bowed respectfully at Duan Lingtian. Please, call me Elder Duan like you usually do, Duan Lingtian said softly. Yes. Lu Rui obediently followed Duan Lingtian's instruction now that he knew Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor. This was because he knew Duan Lingtian was going to be a martial emperor in the future. As long as he treated the young man before him well, Lu clan would have the protection from a martial emperor in the future. Moreover, he might even gain some other benefits. He had a long-term vision as the clan leader. Also, do many people in the Lu clan know about the rebirth martial emperor? Duan Lingtian asked. Not many, Lu Rui responded to Duan Lingtian's question immediately. Everything about Elder Duan's past was recorded in the handbook left behind by our clan's ancestor, Lu Zhang. Only the clan leader has the right to look at it. Duan Lingtian nodded and warned, you're the only one who knows the truth regarding my identity, don't tell anyone about this. Yes, Lu Rui responded respectfully. Also, there's something that I need your help with, Duan Lingtian bluntly said when he recalled the thing that he needed to talk to Lu Rui about. Elder Duan, please do tell. As long as it's something that I and Lu clan are capable of doing, we'll fulfill it for you even if we have to go through hell. Lu Rui said solemnly. Judging from his attitude, it seemed as though he would not frown even if he had to climb mountains and go through hell. Well, you don't have to go through hell for this. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui and asked, I suppose Lu clan has a profound assimilation formation. Yes, we do. Lu Rui nodded. That's great. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed, and he bluntly said, I need you to activate the profound assimilation formation with a huge number of concept fragments. I need it to elevate my concepts. That's not a problem, Lu Rui responded immediately without thinking twice. Concept fragments were nothing to the Lu clan. The clan was a second-rate force that was on the cusp of becoming a first-rate force. They basically had all the concept fragments they needed within reach. They had so many concept fragments to the point that any Lu clan's disciples with outstanding talent in martial Dao and comprehension were eligible to use to the profound assimilation formation to elevate their concepts. I'll also need some spirit fruits. I want all spirit fruits as long as they're consumable by void martial artists, Duan Lingtian continued to say. Void stage. Lu Rui was stunned and proceeded to remind him, Elder Duan, void stage is divided into I know there are 4 levels in the void stage. I want spirit fruits that are consumable by martial artists at the void prying stage, void initiation stage, void interpretation stage, and void transformation stage. Duan Lingtian interrupted Lu Rui and said, I need 1 spirit fruit each for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage. Meanwhile, I need as many spirit fruits as you can find for the void transformation stage. The spirit fruits for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage were meant for Shangquan, while the spirit fruits for the void transformation stage were for him and Feng Tianwu. Naturally, Shangquan would be able to consume the other spirit fruits once his cultivation base rose to the void transformation stage. Shangquan had comprehended the advanced level sword concept. As long as he had sufficient spirit fruits, he would be able to break through to the void transformation stage in a short period of time and become a void transformation martial artist. Yes, although Lu Rui had no idea why Duan Lingtian wanted the low-grade spirit fruits, he agreed anyway. Put aside the fact that Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, he would not decline his request even if he was not due to his medicine refinement techniques. Go prepare it then. Also, don't forget about the soul-stabilizing grass, Duan Lingtian added. Sure, Lu Rui replied before he turned around to leave. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he watched Lu Rui leave. There was a smirk on his face. The identity of the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor is not bad. Although he knew Lu Rui would not decline his request even if he did not pretend to be the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, he put on a disguise so that Lu Rui would put in all his effort. In Lu Rui's opinion, I'm a future martial emperor. Pleasing me doesn't only gain the Lu clan my protection, he'll benefit from me as well. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure out what Lu Rui was thinking. He would think the same if he was in Lu Rui's shoes. Who wouldn't try to please a martial emperor powerhouse? One must admit that Lu Rui was efficient. He visited again after merely an hour. Elder Duan, these are the spirit fruits that are currently in the Lu clan's possession. They're mainly spirit fruits for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage. We only have 1 spirit fruit for a void transformation martial artist. Also, I'm planning to reward those who find spirit fruits for void transformation martial artist, Lu Rui said respectfully to Duan Lingtian as he passed him a spatial ring. Reward, that's a good idea. Duan Lingtian took the spatial ring and nodded. He proceeded to ask, what do you plan to give as a reward to those who find the spirit fruits for void transformation martial artists? You must know that spirit fruits are expensive. The higher a spirit fruit's grade, the more expensive it was. The price of spirit fruits for void transformation martial artists was exorbitant. I'm planning to use the grade 1 life recovery pills that Elder Duan refined as the reward. The purity and stunning medicinal efficacy of the grade 1 life recovery pills that Elder Duan refined is enough to cause people to fight for it. Lu Rui revealed his plan. However, I might need Elder Duan to refine more grade 1 life recovery pills. That's not a problem. Duan Lingtian was optimistic about Lu Rui's plan. The grade 1 life recovery pills were undoubtedly something that all martial artists needed. During critical times, it could act as a life-saving talisman to save a martial artist's life. Especially when the grade 1 life recovery pills that he refined had more than 90% purity, and its medicinal efficacy was many times more effective than ordinary grade 1 life recovery pills. Such stunning medicinal efficacy was almost as miraculous as reviving a dead person and growing flesh on bones. Elder Duan, when do you plan to enter the profound assimilation formation? I've already prepared the concept fragments needed for the formation, Lu Rui added. Duan Lingtian nodded and proceeded to perform the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring that Lu Rui had just given him. Soon after, he saw the spirit fruit for void transformation martial artists in the spatial ring. He did not consume the spirit fruit in the past, so he was not concerned that the medicinal efficacy would drop. I'm planning to cultivate after consuming this spirit fruit. I'll look for you when it's time to enter the profound assimilation formation after I'm done cultivating, Duan Lingtian told Lu Rui his plan. Naturally, he took Shangquan into consideration in his plan. After all, Shangquan's current cultivation base was too weak. If he entered the profound assimilation formation with Shangquan, it would be difficult for Shangquan's current cultivation base to handle the concept energy in the formation, let alone elevating his sword concept. Sure, currently, Lu Rui would do whatever Duan Lingtian asked of him. If that's the case, I won't disturb Elder Duan's cultivation. Subsequently, Lu Rui left after taking the hint. After Lu Rui left, Duan Lingtian went to the backyard. He removed the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring that Lu Rui gave him and tossed it to Shang Quan. Shang Quan, I've separated the spirit fruits in there from left to right. Those are spirit fruits for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage. Chapter 1086 Chapter 1087, Reward. Spirit fruits. Shang Quan was stunned when he took the spatial ring. When he performed blood ownership claim on the spatial ring and saw the spirit fruits, his eyes immediately brightened like a hunter who had spotted his prey. Why, young master, all these spirit fruits are for me. Shang Quan turned to look at Duan Lingtian and asked as his breath quickened. It was his first time seeing so many spirit fruits. Who should I give these to if not you? Tian Wu and I can't use these spirit fruits anyway, Duan Lingtian said rhetorically. Although Shang Quan knew Duan Lingtian would say something like that, he still felt inexplicably excited when he heard the confirmation from Duan Lingtian's mouth. He hastily expressed his gratitude to Duan Lingtian. Thank you, young master. Thank you. Take the spirit fruits, and go back to your room to cultivate, Duan Lingtian said. Shang Quan could not wait to go back to his room to cultivate. When he heard Duan Lingtian's reply, he immediately left after he said respectfully, yes. Now that he had these spirit fruits, his cultivation base would be able to progress quickly. I'll be able to help young master when my strength grows. Shang Quan's heart was filled with excitement the entire time he was walking back to his room. If he did not want to be a burden to his young master by staying by his side, he must quickly raise his cultivation base. After Shang Quan left, Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu who was still trying to control her own energy. Tianwu, I'll be going into closed-door cultivation for a few days. Just stay inside the residence these few days. The moment Feng Tianwu heard Duan Lingtian's words, the coldness on her face dissipated a little as she nodded. Tianwu doesn't know how to control her own strength at all after she lost her memory. I think she'll have to spend quite some time to master the strength that she possessed at her peak. After Feng Tianwu acceded to Duan Lingtian's request, he took another glance at the flame that soared up from her body before turning to leave. After he arrived in his room, he took out a crystal-clear spirit fruit. This spirit fruit was the only one spirit fruit suitable for consumption by void transformation stage martial artists among all the spirit fruits that Lu Rui gave him. I think this spirit fruit is called the red phosphorus fruit. After ransacking the rebirth martial emperor's memory, Duan Lingtian quickly identified the spirit fruit that was gleaming with crimson luster as though it was lit from within. Among the various spirit fruits that are suitable for void transformation stage martial artists' consumption, the red phosphorus fruits are only ranked in the middle. It's hard for an ordinary 6th level void transformation stage martial artist to break through to the 7th level void transformation stage by consuming it. Duan Lingtian raised his brow as he muttered to himself, after all, the gap between the 6th and 7th level void transformation stage is like a wide dividing crest that's extremely hard to cross. However, this only applies to ordinary 6th level void transformation stage martial artists. In my case, although I'm a 6th level void transformation stage martial artist as well, I can trigger the tyrannical medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill to aid me in breaking through to the 7th level void transformation stage after I consume the red phosphorus fruit. Duan Lingtian had no doubts about this at all. Moreover, I don't think it'll take long for me to get my hands on more spirit fruits to raise my cultivation base to the 9th level void transformation stage with the rewards that the Lu clan is offering. As for concepts, well, as long as there's the profound assimilation formation and a huge number of concept fragments, I can just comprehend them one by one until they reach the 9th level advanced stage. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of this, his eyes brightened. It was as though he could already see his cultivation base being raised to the peak of the void. As long as my cultivation base makes a breakthrough to the 9th level void transformation stage, and one of my concepts reaches the 9th level advanced stage, I'll be able to transform it into profundity through the profundity fragment. At that time, my cultivation base will be able to make a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage as long as I continue to consume spirit fruits. Once I've made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage and become a martial monarch powerhouse, the rebirth pill's medicinal efficacy will also be fully displayed. Then, my cultivation base will enter a period of rapid improvement. The more Duan Lingtian thought about it, the brighter his eyes became. Up until now, the medicinal efficacy that the rebirth pill exerted was still limited. Majority of it remained dormant in his body. Sometimes it released a wave of medicinal efficacy to aid him in raising his cultivation base. Although his advancement was greater than other ordinary void transformation stage martial artists, it was still awfully slow. However, once his cultivation base made a breakthrough to the martial monarch stage, the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill would also enter a new explosive stage. At that time, the difference between him and other martial monarch powerhouses would be quite distinct. It's time to begin my cultivation. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath to calm his excitement. He swallowed the red phosphorus fruit in his hand in a go and allowed it to merge with his body as it turned into medicinal efficacy. At the same time, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill hidden deep inside his dantian begin to react. Soon after, the medicinal efficacies of the rebirth pill and the red phosphorus fruit convened and catalyzed the origin energy to move as fast as lightning as it circled around his meridians. 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique, Roving Dragon Form. Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian used the mental cultivation method and closed his eyes to cultivate in total tranquility. Somehow, 3 concept fragments appeared in his hand. If there was another person in the room, he would definitely be surprised to see the 3 concept fragments in Duan Lingtian's hand were 3 different types of concept fragments. Moreover, he was holding the 3 different concept fragments and comprehending 3 different concepts simultaneously without feeling any pressure. If this story spread out, it would take all the martial artists on Cloud Continent by surprise. This was because, in the long history of Cloud Continent, there had not been such humans or demons before. Let alone comprehending 3 different concepts with the help of 3 different concept fragments, a person who could comprehend 2 different concepts with the 2 different concept fragments did not even appear in the history of Cloud Continent before. 3 types of concepts, Duan Lingtian was fully engrossed in comprehending the 3 different concepts. He enjoyed himself as he sensed their profoundness. He wanted to master them so he could raise the concepts he was comprehending. Meanwhile, the origin energy in his body did not remain idle. Under the urging of the medicinal efficacies of the rebirth pill and the red phosphorus fruit, it was rising quickly. When Duan Lingtian was cultivating, the entire Lu clan was in an uproar. It was not just the Lu clan. In the vast land that was owned by the Lu clan with the Lu clan's residence as the center, the shocking news traveled quickly. It took everyone who heard it by surprise. The Lu clan had previously announced a shocking reward, and it continued to announce another shocking reward. There was a small village situated 500 kilometers north of the Lu clan's land. Although the village was small, it was extremely lively. This was because it was the only place within 5,000 kilometers north of the Lu clan's land that housed a restaurant. Due to the fact that it was the only restaurant there, it was always crowded. Hey, did you all hear about it? The Lu clan just announced another shocking reward. A sturdy man who had just entered the restaurant and sat down on a wine table grinned. Lu clan, reward. His words immediately attracted the attention of many people. The gazes were mostly filled with curiosity. What reward? What reward? Somebody could not help but ask. Humph. Before the sturdy man had time to respond, somebody snorted in disdain. Since the reward that the Lu clan is offering this time is shocking as well, I'm sure the difficulty of the task is certainly not any easier than the previous task. I also heard that the reward the Lu clan offered previously was for the sake of finding some grass or something. However, the characteristics of the grass are extremely rare. I've never heard of anyone who has seen that kind of grass before. For the sake of this grass, the Lu clan even promised a grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Many people in our northern mountain land were shocked and went crazy in search of that grass. Many people began to chime in. I wonder if the Lu clan deliberately announced such rewards to toy with us. I know quite a number of people, some of them have even traveled the length and breadth of the country, but none of them have seen such grass before, a middle-aged man suddenly chimed in. Humph. The Lu clan is one of the 2 strongest clans in our northern mountain land. Moreover, they're a distinguished family of alchemists. Do you think they're so free that they would toy with us? Someone retorted soon after. The Lu clan has always had a good name in the 10,000 years they existed in our northern mountain land. There's no way they're toying with us. Many people echoed. What's the reward that the Lu clan offered this time? Somebody asked the sturdy man who brought them the news. Speaking of that, the task for the reward this time is simpler than the one they announced previously, the sturdy man said as he drank his wine. Oh, many people became interested when they heard the sturdy man's words. They remembered the sturdy man said that the reward the Lu clan offered this time was pretty shocking too. The reward had to be very good for it to be called shocking. This time, the Lu clan has publicly announced that they're searching for spirit fruits suitable for void transformation martial artists. It's not limited to amount or type, the sturdy man said without beating around the bush. That's all. Everyone present was surprised by the sturdy man's words. All of them found it unbelievable. In their opinion, spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists were not rare even though they were valuable. In fact, some of the people present had even consumed some not too long ago. That's right. That's all. The sturdy man nodded. What's the reward that the Lu clan offered? This was what everyone was most concerned about. The Lu clan announced that martial artists who present them with a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists will be able to receive a grade 1 life recovery pill, the sturdy man said. Silence descended the moment the words left his mouth. A few moments later, everyone regained their senses and began to sneer. Chapter 1087 Chapter 1088, Narrow-mindedness. 1 life recovery pill. Some people asked with a sneer, how's Lu clan reputable? This is just wishful thinking on their part. They wish to exchange for a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists with a mere grade 1 life recovery pill. Although a grade 1 life recovery pill was valuable, its value was far less than that of a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. This was something everybody knew. The Lu clan actually came up with such a reward. Did they really think we're all idiots? I think only an idiot would take a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists and exchange it for a mere grade 1 life recovery pill. If I take a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists to barter in the northern mountain city's black market, I can get at least 3 grade 1 life recovery pills in return. The restaurant was in a clamor. Everyone felt the reward that the Lu clan offered was lacking. Big guy, the shocking reward you spoke of is just a mere grade 1 life recovery pill. Somebody looked at the sturdy man and sneered. Although a grade 1 life recovery pill is valuable, I wouldn't call it shocking. Another person chimed in as he looked at the sturdy man. For a moment, the sturdy man became the target of public criticism. Humph. The sturdy man snorted in disdain when faced with everyone's ridicule. What do you all know? Would I say it's shocking if it's just an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill? The sturdy man's voice drowned out the people's mockery and took them by surprise. What do you mean? Exactly. What do you mean by, just an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill? Don't tell me the grade 1 life recovery pill the Northern Mountains Lu clan is offering is not an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill. Humph. Aren't all the grade 1 life recovery pills that are circulating in our southern outer land, including the ones the Northern Mountains Lu clan possessed, come from Guild Master Cheng of the Alchemist Guild's main guild of the southern outer land? Many people voiced out their opinion to refute the sturdy man's words. All of the grade 1 life recovery pills circulating in the southern outer land came from the hands of the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild of the southern outer land. The sturdy man smiled a dazzling smile. Guys, aren't your news a little too outdated? Don't tell me that none of you heard the news about a grade 1 alchemist elder joining the Lu clan. Soon after, somebody returned to their senses and remembered that the Lu clan already had their own grade 1 alchemist. Oh, yeah, I remember that. The rumored Lu clan's first interim elder that caused a storm of discussion as a grade 1 alchemist. Now that Lu clan has their own grade 1 alchemist, they no longer need Guild Master Cheng to refine grade 1 pills for them anymore. The Lu clan has a grade 1 alchemist already. Some people who had only recently left their houses were stunned. This was their first time hearing this news. Humph. So what if the Lu clan has their own grade 1 alchemist now? Don't tell me the grade 1 life recovery pills he refined are better than the one refined by our Guild Master Cheng of the Alchemist Guild's main guild of the southern outer land. The grade 1 life recovery pills that Guild Master Cheng refined often has purity above 70%. It's not easy to refine pills better than the ones he refines. Exactly. Even if the Lu clan already has a grade 1 alchemist of their own, how could he possibly be compared to Guild Master Cheng? Let alone refining a pill that's superior to the pill Guild Master Cheng refines. Many people chimed in again. Judging from their words, one could hear the respect they had for Guild Master Cheng of the Alchemist Guild's main guild of the southern outer land. How ignorant. The sturdy man enunciated each of his words clearly as he coldly glanced at the group of people who looked down on the grade 1 alchemist from the Lu clan. His loud voice easily drowned out the din in the restaurant. Everyone's attention immediately shifted to him again. Many of their eyes looked as though they were about to shoot out fire. Ignorant. Fine. Please do enlighten us on how ignorant we are. One middle-aged man was so angry that he immediately stood up. He glared at the sturdy man and barked, "If you can't come out with a plausible explanation, I'll make sure to spill your blood until it's 3 feet high today." The moment the words left his mouth, the middle-aged man's sharp aura swept out from his body and pressured the group of people around him. "A powerhouse at the peak of the void," somebody exclaimed. For a moment, everybody stared at the middle-aged man in fear as though he was a beast that might swallow them whole. However, their attention soon shifted away from the middle-aged man at the peak of the void to the sturdy man. "Looks like this guy is going to meet his doom soon. If he can't give a proper explanation today, this powerhouse at the peak of the void won't let him go. How dare he call us ignorant? Just one word and he offended all of us. He's simply looking for death. I'd like to see what he's going to say next." The crowd buried their heads together in discussion. All of them felt the sturdy man was doomed. The sturdy man's eyes were filled with dread the moment he realized the middle-aged man was a powerhouse at the peak of the void. However, the dread in his eyes soon disappeared since he felt secure knowing he had a proper explanation. "All of you keep saying that the Liu clan's Elder Duan is not as good as Guildmaster Chang, however, I wonder if any of you have witnessed Elder Duan refine pills with your own eyes before. Or maybe compare the Grade 1 life recovery pills that Elder Duan refined to the ones that Guildmaster Chang refined?" the sturdy man asked after sweeping a glance at the group of people. The crowd of people immediately looked at each other, but none of them spoke up. Although this was the first time many of them heard about Elder Duan in the Liu clan, they immediately associated this Elder Duan with the Liu clan. Due to this reason, they felt as though they knew him as well. However, they could only stay silent when questioned by the sturdy man. None of them had seen the Liu clan's Grade 1 alchemist elder before, let alone witnessing him refine pills with their own eyes. Naturally, they also have not seen the Grade 1 pills that he refined before, so it was impossible for them to compare it as well. "What, you have nothing to say now?" the sturdy man snorted before he continued to mock them. "All of you don't know anything yet you keep insulting the Liu clan's Elder Duan. What a joke." The sturdy man's words caused the faces of the crowd to turn green and pale. "Humph. Since you put it this way, the pill refining level of the Liu clan's Grade 1 alchemist elder must be high then. I'd like to hear how remarkable is the Grade 1 life recovery pills that he refines since you respect him so much." "That's right, it's easy for you to say he's amazing. But if he's really that amazing, tell us the purity of the Grade 1 life recovery pills that the Liu clan's elder refined. Since the Liu clan dares to use it to exchange for spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists, could it be that the Grade 1 life recovery pills, purity is at 75% or above?" Soon after, the crowd regained their senses and questioned the sturdy man since they were unwilling to let the matter go. In their opinion, only Grade 1 life recovery pills with purity at 75% and above were worthy to be exchanged for a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. This was because a Grade 1 life recovery pill with 75% or more purity had medicinal efficacy that was a whole level higher than a Grade 1 life recovery pills with purity at 70% and below. Only that kind of Grade 1 life recovery pills had the same value with a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. Moreover, since the beginning, they did not believe the Grade 1 alchemist elder in Liu clan could actually refine a Grade 1 life recovery pill with purity above 75%. In the entire Cloud continent, not just in the Outer Land, it was as rare as a phoenix's feather for a Grade 1 alchemist to purify a Grade 1 pill with purity more than 75% even in the Inner Land. Purity above 75%. The moment the sturdy man heard the crowd's words, he was momentarily stunned before he burst out in a fit of laughter. His laughter did not stop even after a long time. It was as though he could not control himself at all. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Laughter filled the air in the restaurant. It caused everyone's faces to darken. "Are you done laughing?" Finally, the middle-aged man at peak of the void asked coldly. His thunderous voice drowned out the sturdy man's laughter. At this moment, the sturdy man finally stopped laughing. "What are you laughing at?" the middle-aged man asked in a deep voice as his eyes gleamed coldly. "Of course, I'm laughing at how ignorant they are," the sturdy man replied bluntly. He glanced at the middle-aged man once before he turned to look at the others. "Please do enlighten me then on how ignorant they are." The middle-aged man's attention was firmly fixed on the sturdy man as he enunciated each word slowly while the people began to get angry. "Do you really think it'll be our loss to exchange a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artist for a Grade 1 life recovery pill that the Liu clan offered? Do all of you really think that only grade 1 life recovery pills with purity at 75% and above are worthy to be compared to spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists in terms of value? The sturdy man asked as he looked at the people in the restaurant. Although none of them verbally confirmed it, the looks in their eyes undoubtedly confirmed it. Very good. When the sturdy man saw how no one denied this, he narrowed his eyes and recounted the news he heard without leaving a single detail out. Let me enlighten all of you then. According to the news that Liu Clan spread out, the grade 1 life recovery pills that the Liu Clan offers in exchange for a spirit fruit that's suitable for void transformation stage martial artists has more than 90% purity. 90%. The moment the words left the sturdy man's mouth, silence immediately descended in the restaurant. Even the powerhouse at the peak of the void who was glaring at the sturdy man was shocked. He was in a daze for a very long time. Chapter 1088. 90%, 90%, the sturdy man's words kept replaying in everyone's minds. They were in shock for a long time. A grade 1 life recovery pill. With 90% purity. Soon after, someone regained their senses first. He snorted as he looked at the sturdy man. You're not fooling us, are you? A grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% purity. Even those grade 1 alchemists in the inner land might not be able to refine such pills. 90% purity. What a joke. I don't care if all of you believe it, but there's no way I'll believe this. I don't believe it either. The people in the restaurant regained their senses one by one and chimed in at the same time. Judging from their words, it was apparent they did not believe the sturdy man's words. At this moment, the powerhouse at the peak of the void glared at the sturdy man who was standing before him. His imposing aura swept out again and pressured the sturdy man. Barf. The sturdy man was not prepared for the wave of aura that made his vital blood and energy run amok in his body. His face turned pale immediately as he threw up a mouthful of blood. However, he did not dare to show any anger at all even though he was injured. Who knew if he would offend this powerhouse at the peak of the void again? Who would avenge him if he was really killed by this man? Are you telling the truth? The powerhouse at the peak of the void asked in a deep voice. Of course. Although the sturdy man was injured by the other party, he did not dare to ignore his question. He quickly replied, that reward is really announced by the Liu Clan. They said they'll give anyone a grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% purity in exchange for a spirit fruit that's suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. The moment these words left the sturdy man's mouth, the people in the restaurant fell silent again. It was apparent the sturdy man was not lying to them. The Liu Clan is an ancient family with 10,000 years of legacy in our northern mountain land. Logically, it's unlikely for them to make a false promise to deceive us, someone muttered a moment later. That's right. The most important thing for an ancient family like the Liu Clan is their reputation. They would never offer such a reward unless they really have grade 1 life recovery pills with 90% or more purity. Many people nodded their heads in agreement. In the northern mountain land, be it the Liu Clan the alchemy clan or the O clan the weapons crafting clan, both of them were ancient families that had a 10,000 years legacy. All this while, these two great clans valued their reputation a lot and had a good reputation in the northern mountain land. Well, you have a point there, but a grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% or more purity. Isn't that a little too unbelievable? Somebody smiled wryly. Indeed, it's too unbelievable. From my understanding, even the grade 1 alchemist who founded the Liu Clan 10,000 years ago, the person recognized as the best alchemist in our northern mountain land in 10,000 years, could only refine a grade 1 life recovery pills with 80% purity at the most. I've also heard of this before. The rumor is indeed like this. The people in the restaurant buried their heads together in discussions. Many of them still felt this was too good to be true. If the Liu Clan could really produce a grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% or more purity, then the one who refined such grade 1 life recovery pills must be the grade 1 alchemist elder who recently joined the Liu Clan, someone voiced out his speculation. I heard that the grade 1 alchemist is a young man who's not even 30 years old yet. Another person added. However, the words that left his mouth was similar to a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples. What, not even 30 years old? A grade 1 alchemist who's not even 30 years old yet. The entire restaurant was in an uproar. Most of the people present only knew that a grade 1 alchemist elder recently joined the Liu Clan, but they did not know the grade 1 alchemist elder was a young man who was not even 30 years old yet. Similar to the Grade 1 life recovery pills with 90% or more purity, a Grade 1 alchemist who was not even 30 years old yet shocked them to the core. Soon after, somebody suggested, if you want to see if this is true, just bring a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists to the Lu clan, and you'll get your answer immediately. That's right, the others nodded their heads in agreement one by one. Whether it was a donkey or a horse, one would only find out after one had brought it out for a walk. Lu clan's residence. Crack, crack, in the master bedroom in a spacious residence to the east, the sound of bone cracking suddenly reverberated in the air. The sound was particularly pleasant to the ear. The sound came from a young man who was stretching his limbs after he had just gotten out of bed. The purple-clad young man had a pair of dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. He looked extremely handsome and dazzling. At this moment, he had a smile on his handsome face. If there was a second person here, that person would feel as though he was bathed in a spring wind if he saw the smile on his face. The bottleneck heading to the 8th level void transformation stage has appeared. I just need one more spirit fruit suitable for void transformation stage martial artists, and I'll be able to successfully break through to the 8th level void transformation stage. After making a breakthrough to the 8th level void transformation stage, I'll also need another spirit fruit to break through to the 9th level void transformation stage. The purple-clad young man muttered to himself. The purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had successfully made a breakthrough in his cultivation base after consuming the red phosphorus fruit. However, my concepts have not made any progress at all in these few days, he murmured as he extended both his arms out and opened his palms. Without warning, Duan Lingtian's hands trembled as he clenched his hands. Bam! At this moment, milky white flame suddenly rose from his body. The flame violently skyrocketed into the sky as though it was trying to pierce through the ceiling above his head. As the milky white flame soared up, rolling airwaves swept out and caused the tables and cabinets in the room to shake. It was as though an earthquake had occurred. Whoosh! At the same time, the heaven and earth energy whirled above Duan Lingtian's head and continued to gather into the heaven and earth phenomenon. In the next moment, 1,000 silhouettes of ancient horned dragons appeared. They writhed as they descended, looking very lifelike. Just his origin energy alone was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 ancient horned dragons. This was the norm for a 7th level void transformation stage martial artist. Previously, my full strength was equivalent to 3,500 ancient horned dragons with the help from the quasi-royal grade spirit sword. Duan Lingtian recalled. Not long ago, my sword concept was raised from the 5th level to the 8th level advanced stage. Due to that, my strength was also raised and was equivalent to the strength of 3,800 ancient horned dragons. Right now, my cultivation base has made a breakthrough to the 7th level from the 6th level void transformation stage. Because there's a gap between the two of them, my strength has increased with an additional 200 ancient horned dragons after my origin energy has transformed. Along with the double boost granted by the quasi-royal grade spirit sword, my full strength now, after I cast all my techniques, is equivalent to 4,200 ancient horned dragons. Duan Lingtian had a brand new understanding of his own strength. Currently, I can even defeat a powerhouse at the peak of the void. A confident and dazzling smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. I wonder if Tian Wu managed to harness her own strength now. His heart jolted, and he quickly left the room for the backyard. Tian Wu's not here. When Duan Lingtian arrived in the backyard, he did not see Feng Tian Wu at all. After asking the servants, he found out that Feng Tian Wu had stopped coming to the backyard since 2 days ago. Instead, she had been staying in her room. Elder Duan. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to leave the backyard, he noticed servant Xiao Yun rushing toward him. Yes. Duan Lingtian looked at servant Xiao Yun in confusion. Elder Duan, see Cao Cao is waiting for you in the main hall, servant Xiao Yun replied breathlessly when she arrived before Duan Lingtian. Cao Cao. Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment before he regained his senses. He realized the Cao Cao servant Xiao Yun was referring to was actually Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Don't tell me the clan leader has already gotten the spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. Duan Lingtian's eyes brightened. He left the backyard in a haste as he rushed to the main hall. I wonder how many spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists he managed to obtain. It would be great if he managed to obtain 2 types of spirit fruits that I've never consumed before. With just a little time, my cultivation base would make a breakthrough to the 9th level void transformation stage. Duan Lingtian thought to himself as he made his way to the main hall. Soon after, he arrived at the main hall and saw Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. Elder Duan. Lu Rui bowed respectfully to Duan Lingtian. He knew very well that as long as this young man did not meet with any mishaps, he would eventually become a martial emperor. Due to this reason, he did not dare to be disrespectful. Clan leader, did you ask for me because there's news about the reward? Duan Lingtian asked as he suppressed the excitement in his heart. Yes. Lu Rui nodded. How many? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. A hint of excitement could be seen on his face. He could no longer suppress it. What do you mean by how many? Lu Rui was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. He looked at Duan Lingtian blankly. He did not understand why Duan Lingtian would ask such a question. I thought the reward for the spirit fruits that we offered has yielded some results. Duan Lingtian was confused as well. When Lu Rui heard Duan Lingtian's question, a pang of realization hit Lu Rui. He finally understood why Duan Lingtian would ask such a question. Elder Duan, I asked to speak to you not because I've obtained the spirit fruits. It's because I have some news regarding the first task that you had me post up. The earlier task, Duan Lingtian did not understand initially. However, he quickly remembered. His face was filled with excitement as he asked urgently, Clan leader, you mean, you have news about the soul stabilizing grass? The soul stabilizing grass. It was none other than the rare treasure that would help Feng Tianwu restore her memory. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the soul stabilizing grass was undoubtedly much more important than the spirit fruits suitable for void transformation stage martial artists. There was an abundance of the latter on Cloud Continent, and it was not difficult to search for them. However, the former was extremely rare and precious. Chapter 1089. Yes. Lu Rui nodded. Today, a man visited the Lu clan. He said he came across the soul-stabilizing grass in a remote mountain range. Did that man bring the soul-stabilizing grass with him? Where's he now? The moment Duan Lingtian heard Lu Rui's words, his eyes lit up and his breathing quickened. That man didn't bring the soul-stabilizing grass with him. Lu Rui shook his head. He had expected Duan Lingtian to ask those questions. His words were like a splash of cold water on Duan Lingtian's head. It woke him up instantly. He didn't bring the soul-stabilizing grass with him. Duan Lingtian frowned. A confused expression was clearly written on his face. No. Lu Rui shook his head. According to him, a demon that could transform into a human being is guarding the soul-stabilizing grass in the remote mountain range. He's no match for that demon, so there's no way for him to get his hands on the soul-stabilizing grass at all. A demon? Duan Lingtian's frown deepened. That demon is so strong. The soul-stabilizing grass was an extremely rare treasure on Cloud Continent. It was not unusual for a strong demon to guard the place where it grew. According to that man, that demon's strength is at the peak of the void. Lu Rui continued saying indifferently, a demon's strength at the peak of the void is nothing. I'm planning to ask Elder Ji to follow him into the mountain range to obtain the soul-stabilizing grass. Naturally, Duan Lingtian knew the Elder Ji that Lu Rui spoke of. Lu Ji was one of the 3 great guardian elders of the Lu clan. Previously, he had encountered Lu Ji once when he had just joined the Lu clan. However, they did not meet again after that. However, I haven't asked Elder Ji to follow that man to harvest the soul-stabilizing grass yet. As far as I know, in the case of grass-type medicinal materials, it's best to refine them into medicine as soon as they're harvested so that their medicinal nature will remain at its optimum. Lu Rui voiced out his own concerns. Elder Duan, does the soul-stabilizing grass have this kind of particular requirement? If not, I'll find Elder Ji immediately and ask him to go with that man to bring the soul-stabilizing grass back. That's true, but it's only applicable to other ordinary grass-type medicinal materials. The soul-stabilizing grass cannot be grouped together with the other ordinary grass-type medicinal materials, Duan Lingtian said. The soul-stabilizing grass and the immortal spirit herb that he obtained from the Martial Emperor's secret treasure were no ordinary grass-type herbs. Naturally, the immortal spirit herb was even more valuable compared to the soul-stabilizing grass. After all, the immortal spirit herb was a legendary herb that even the rebirth Martial Emperor did not encounter in his 2 lives. On the other hand, the rebirth Martial Emperor had seen the soul-stabilizing grass a few times before. In that case, I'll look for Elder Ji now. Once Lu Rui was done speaking, he immediately turned to leave. Clan leader, Duan Lingtian called out to Lu Rui. Is there anything else, Elder Duan? If it's about the soul-stabilizing grass, please be rest assured, Elder Duan. With Elder G personally going on the trip, it's not difficult to obtain the soul-stabilizing grass. Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian in confusion before he reassured him. Clan leader, I'm not doubting Elder G's strength, but I just want to harvest the soul-stabilizing grass together with him, Duan Lingtian voiced out his intention. Recently, he had been staying in the Lu clan's residence and cultivating for the past few days. Due to this reason, he wanted to go out and get some fresh air. Naturally, the main reason was he wanted to see if the place where the soul-stabilizing grass grew had other rare treasures or not. According to the Rebirth Martial Emperor's memory, the soul-stabilizing grass is an extremely valuable and rare herb. The place where the soul-stabilizing grass grows must have a good environment. Such an environment would be suitable for the growth of many rare treasures. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted as his eyes lit up in anticipation. In his opinion, his luck had been quite good ever since he came to the Lu clan. First, he had obtained the soul-fixing root from the Lu clan, and now, he had obtained some news about the soul-stabilizing grass. This time, he might obtain other rare treasures as well on this trip to harvest the soul-stabilizing grass with Elder G. Elder Duan, you want to go as well? Lu Rui was stunned. Yes, is there any problem? Duan Lingtian asked. Well, there's no problem but, I'm just thinking about your safety, Elder Duan. Unfortunately, Elder Yuan and Gui have just left the house a few days ago. It'll take them 2 weeks before they return. Lu Rui's face was filled with concern when he finished his sentence. Isn't Elder G coming along? A warm feeling rose up in Duan Lingtian's heart. He shook his head and smiled. With Elder G there, why are you still worried that something will happen to me? Don't tell me there are people who dare to offend the Lu clan here in the northern mountain land. Duan Lingtian felt that Lu Rui was being overly protective of him regarding this matter. However, he could empathize a little. After all, he was not just a mere grade 1 alchemist who could refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity to Lu Rui. He would also be a martial monarch in the future. He could not afford to make even the smallest mistake. You have a point. The moment Lu Rui heard Duan Lingtian's words, he nodded his head in embarrassment. He also noticed that he had been a little too overprotective. In the northern mountain land, only the O clan was qualified to be compared to their Lu clan. The other few second-rate forces were not even enough for Lu clan to scratch their itch. Each of those second-rate forces had their own martial monarch, but their strength was no match for any of the Lu clan's 3 great guardian elders. I'm going with you. When Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui were walking out of the main hall, a cold voice that sent shivers running their spines entered their ears. When they turned their heads over to look, they saw a fiery elf-like figure standing nearby. It was a woman dressed in red who looked so beautiful that her beauty could topple a country. The only flaw she had was the coldness on her face. Even her body exuded an icy aura that was extremely arrogant and unapproachable. The few words she had spoken seemed as though it was enough to condense the air into ice. Tian Wu. Duan Lingtian recognized the red-clad woman with just a glance. He was slightly astonished as he asked, "Why are you here?" "I'm going with you." Feng Tianwu repeated her words from earlier and ignored his question. Her tone remained indifferent, but it was not as cold as before. "Just come if you want to go together." Duan Lingtian smiled. "All right." After hearing Duan Lingtian's reply, Feng Tianwu, who radiated a chilly aura, flew out and followed Duan Lingtian like a shadow. "You're Miss Tianwu. I'm Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan." Lu Rui greeted Feng Tianwu with a smile. Although he had seen her before, she was lying in the ice coffin then and did not have any interaction with him. He did not dare to be negligent now that he finally met Feng Tianwu in person. This was because he had learned some things about her from the servants serving Duan Lingtian. He knew the reason Elder Duan was looking for the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass was for her. From this matter alone, he could see how Elder Duan treasured this woman. Due to this reason, he did not dare to be negligent at all. This woman might also become a martial emperor in the future. She was not somebody he could afford to offend. However, Feng Tianwu did not bother with Lu Rui's perfunctory greeting at all. She did not even raise a brow, she completely ignored Lu Rui. Lu Rui was left feeling awkward for a moment. "Elder Duan, let's look for Elder G." In an attempt to cover up his awkwardness, Lu Rui quickly gestured to Duan Lingtian before he led the way out. "Tianwu, let's go." Duan Lingtian motioned to Feng Tianwu and followed Lu Rui's lead. Feng Tianwu did not respond but silently followed Duan Lingtian like his shadow. Soon after, under Lu Rui's guidance, Duan Lingtian met Lu Ji, one of the three great guardian elders of the Lu clan, again. Elder Duan, Lu Ji greeted Duan Lingtian enthusiastically when he saw him again. A hint of respect for Duan Lingtian could be seen in the depth of the old man's eyes. A few days ago, he found out that Elder Duan could refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity. He really admired him from the bottom of his heart. Elder Ji, Duan Lingtian also greeted Lu Ji with a smile. This must be Miss Tianwu, I suppose. Lu Ji's gaze quickly landed on Feng Tianwu, who was by Duan Lingtian's side. He greeted her with a faint smile. The corner of Lu Rui's mouth twitched a little as an evil smirk slowly formed on his face when he saw this. In his opinion, Feng Tianwu would definitely ignore Elder Ji similar to how she had ignored him earlier. Elder Ji would definitely be embarrassed. However, the smile on the corner of his mouth froze immediately. You're very strong. He realized that Feng Tianwu had spoken. She actually spoke to Lu Ji. The scene before his eyes completely crushed his inner fantasy. Thank you, Miss Tianwu. You flatter me, Lu Ji politely replied upon hearing Feng Tianwu's words. It was apparent he knew the relationship between Duan Lingtian and her was not simple. Elder Ji, you'll go with Elder Duan and Miss Tianwu this time. At this time, Lu Rui looked at Lu Ji and explained the situation to him without missing any details. No problem, Lu Ji agreed straightforwardly before he looked at Duan Lingtian again. Congratulations, Elder Duan, for finding the thing you've been looking for. I've still yet to get my hands on it. Duan Lingtian shook his head gently before saying, let us depart as early as possible. I fear things might change if we depart any later. I can leave now, Lu Ji responded. I'll bring all of you to meet that person, and let him bring all of you to search for the soul-stabilizing grass. Upon hearing the eagerness in Duan Lingtian's words, Lu Rui dove right into the topic without any hesitation and brought Duan Lingtian and the other two to the place where he temporarily put up the man who brought them the news. Soon after, a short and foolish-looking middle-aged man with a missing front tooth appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. Third-level void transformation stage. Duan Lingtian's spiritual energy immediately probed the cultivation base of this foolish-looking middle-aged man. After the foolish-looking middle-aged man's gaze swept past Duan Lingtian, Lu Rui, and Lu Ji, it landed on Feng Tianwu. His gaze remained fixed on her as he yelled, Hua! A beauty! I'll dig your eyes out if you keep looking. Feng Tianwu warned with the slightest movement of her lips. Her voice was so cold. It was as though it originated from an extremely cold thaw hole. Chapter 1090. However, it seemed as though the lecherous middle-aged man did not hear what Feng Tianwu said as he continued to fearlessly stare at her beautiful face. Bang! At the moment Feng Tianwu was about to attack, a loud explosion reverberated in the air. Feng Tianwu only saw something flashed before her eyes before the lecherous middle-aged man flew back. A silhouette similar to purple lightning followed behind. In just an instant, the lecherous middle-aged man fell on the ground. His vision was suddenly blocked as he was struggling to stand up. He did not have a chance to react at all when a foot landed on his face. Bang! Duan Lingtian stepped on the lecherous middle-aged man's face. He remained motionless and sturdy like Mount Tai no matter how much the lecherous middle-aged man struggled. Coldness filled Duan Lingtian's face similar to Feng Tianwu. His eyes gleamed fiercely. Ever since Feng Tianwu tried to sacrifice herself for him by triggering the energy from the fire spirit body, he had completely accepted Feng Tianwu as his woman. How could he tolerate someone who insulted his woman? If he did not have any use for this person, he would have immediately smashed the man's head. Feng Tianwu's heart jolted a little as she watched what was happening before her eyes. She could not help but feel a little happy. Perhaps, our relationship really wasn't simple in the past, Feng Tianwu mumbled to herself. Clan leader, I want him dead. I want him dead. At this moment, the lecherous middle-aged man whose head was being stepped by Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui in the distance as soon as he realized he could not struggle out of Duan Lingtian's constraint. If he's not dead, I definitely won't tell you where the grass is. The lecherous middle-aged man continued to shout. A grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills, now there won't be any grade 1 spirit weapon, Duan Lingtian said softly as he partially stepped on the lecherous middle-aged man's head into the ground. The lecherous middle-aged man was puzzled when he heard what Duan Lingtian said. This is Elder Duan. Lu Clan is only helping him to offer the reward, he's the one giving out the promised reward, Lu Rui said slowly as he looked at the lecherous middle-aged man sympathetically. You, if you don't give me the grade 1 spirit weapon, I won't bring you to the grass. The lecherous middle-aged man's eyes gleamed fiercely as he threatened after eating a few mouthfuls of soil. I smashed a watermelon in just one kick previously, but I've never kicked a human head before, I wonder if it's tougher than a watermelon, Duan Lingtian mumbled to himself as he stepped on the lecherous middle-aged man's head. No. The lecherous middle-aged man's expression changed drastically when he heard what Duan Lingtian said and screamed in fear, I'll bring you there. I'll bring you there. He was really afraid the young man whose strength was much more powerful than his would really kick his head like a watermelon. With his ability, he would certainly die if Duan Lingtian kicked his head. Didn't you say that you won't bring me there? Duan Lingtian said calmly. His tone was bone-piercingly cold. I was kidding. Yes, I was kidding. The lecherous middle-aged man panicked and explained with all his might when he noticed the coldness in Duan Lingtian's voice. HMPH. Watch what you're looking at, if you look at what you're not supposed to again, I'll show you how to write the word, regret. Duan Lingtian scoffed as he withdrew his foot. Yes, the lecherous middle-aged man responded immediately. He dared not look at Feng Tianwu anymore, not even to sneak a glance. Lu Rui and Lu Ji looked at each other after witnessing what had happened. There was a knowing look in their eyes. It seemed like they were right. Elder Duan and Feng Tianwu had an extraordinary relationship. Lead the way, Duan Lingtian shouted. His eyes gleamed when he looked at the lecherous middle-aged man. Yes, the lecherous middle-aged man was afraid of Duan Lingtian now, and he did not dare to delay. He took the lead and flew up to the sky before heading east at the speed of light. Duan Lingtian ascended into the sky with Feng Tianwu after saying goodbye to Lu Rui. He caught up with the lecherous middle-aged man slowly and steadily. Whoosh! At this moment, Lu Ji ascended into the sky and caught up with Duan Lingtian and the rest in just an instant. How did you find out there's soul-stabilizing grass growing in that place? Duan Lingtian calmly asked as he looked at the lecherous middle-aged man. Soul-stabilizing grass? The lecherous middle-aged man was stunned. The grass that I'm looking for, Duan Lingtian said. I found it by accident when I was passing by that place, I was lucky I managed to escape in time. Otherwise, I would have been killed by that demon, the lecherous middle-aged man recounted what happened. There was an expression of fear on his face. How far is it to get there from here? Duan Lingtian asked again. With our current speed, we'll take 1 day at the most to get there, the lecherous middle-aged man said. A day was not considered long to Duan Lingtian. It would pass in just a blink of an eye. Dawn broke on the second day and shone its light on the land and Duan Lingtian. He noticed they were fast approaching a mountain range in front of them. It's right there. At this moment, the lecherous middle-aged man said to Duan Lingtian and the others. To be more precise, he was talking to Duan Lingtian and Lu Ji. He dared not look at Feng Tianwu at all. It was obvious he remembered Duan Lingtian's warning. Whoosh, 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 with their speed, they arrived at the mountain range in just a short time. They only stopped flying when they arrived above the mountain range. Elder Duan, about the 10 grade 1 life recovery pills, the lecherous middle-aged man stammered as he looked at Duan Lingtian. HMPH. I'll definitely give you the 10 grade 1 life recovery pills if you bring me to what I want. Where did you see the grass? Lead the way, Duan Lingtian said with a scoff. Thank you, Elder Duan. The lecherous middle-aged man was relieved after he received confirmation from Duan Lingtian. He thanked Duan Lingtian with a joyful expression. Subsequently, he led the way and flew toward the side of the mountain range. Soon after, they arrived in a long and narrow canyon. There was fog lingering in the canyon that affected the visibility of the area. It's over there. The lecherous middle-aged man took the lead and walked ahead. His speed was quick as though he was afraid he might not be able to find the soul-stabilizing grass if he was late. Although the lecherous middle-aged man's speed was quick, Duan Lingtian and the others did not feel any pressure at all and caught up to him easily. The deeper they went into the canyon, the thicker the fog became. They could not see what lay ahead at all. This caused Duan Lingtian to frown. Whoosh! Soon after, something flashed before Duan Lingtian's eyes. He noticed Lu Ji was ahead of him as he followed closely behind the lecherous middle-aged man who was leading the way. Elder Duan, please follow me closely with Miss Tianwu, as long as the both of you stay within 10 meters of me, there's nothing the demon at the peak of the void could do to the both of you even if he attacks, Lu Ji said confidently to Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu. He was confident in his ability. However, Duan Lingtian did not know what to say in response to that. One must know that Duan Lingtian was capable of standing his ground as long as the demon at the peak of the void did not comprehend 3 types of 9th level void transformation concepts. Thank you, Elder Ji. However, he still expressed his sincere gratitude to Lu Ji. Duan Lingtian and Feng Tianwu walked next to each other as they followed closely behind Lu Ji. At the same time, Lu Ji followed closely behind the lecherous middle-aged man. The 4 of them headed deep into the canyon in that sequence. Wait, they did not how long had passed, and Lu Ji had vanished from their sights a few times prior to this. However, Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically this time, and he immediately halted his movement. Feng Tianwu stopped moving as well. Feng Tianwu looked at Duan Lingtian doubtfully. There's an illusory formation merged with a hidden formation here, Duan Lingtian said with an ugly expression on his face. Elder Ji and that fellow have fallen into the illusory formation. They're stuck there since they're unprepared. Illusory formation. Feng Tianwu still looked skeptical. She had forgotten what an illusory formation was after losing her memory. Duan Lingtian. When Duan Lingtian was observing his surroundings, a familiar voice shouted from behind him. Who's that? Although Duan Lingtian found the voice familiar, he could not recall to whom the voice belonged. He turned around immediately. He saw 2 silhouettes in just a glance. He saw a gray-clad young man who was close to middle age and an old man with white hair and white eyebrows. It was the gray-clad man who had shouted earlier. Lu Song. Duan Lingtian recognized the gray-clad man immediately. His face turned somber as his eyes gleamed. It's you. What, are you surprised? The gray-clad man was the Lu clan's first young master Lu Song. He was the blood brother of the Lu clan's 3rd young master Lu Wai whom Duan Lingtian killed when he just arrived at the clan. However, Duan Lingtian ignored Lu Song's question that was filled with mockery. He looked at the old man next to Lu Song and asked in his deep voice, "You're the one who set up the illusory formation and merged it with the hidden formation?" He still remembered the old man's surname was Guan. That's right, the old man did not deny it. Instead, he looked at Duan Lingtian with a gleam in his eyes. However, I didn't expect you to notice the illusory formation that I set up. How did you figure out it's merged with the hidden formation? The old man asked as he looked at Duan Lingtian in fear. You're not the only inscription master on Cloud Continent. Duan Lingtian replied coldly. Chapter 1091. The hidden formation was an inscription formation that could hide other inscription formations. Only inscription masters with spiritual energy at the martial monarch stage could inscribe and set up such a formation. If Duan Lingtian was not an inscription master, he would not be able to notice the illusory formation that was merged with the hidden formation. Moreover, he was not just an average inscription master, he was an outstanding one. Therefore, he realized what was happening with the help of his spiritual energy after Lu Ji and the lecherous middle-aged man entered the illusory formation and encountered the hidden formation. That was the reason why he managed to stop in time and did not enter the illusory formation. You're an inscription master. The old man's eyes narrowed. He had a shocked expression on his face when heard Duan Lingtian's words. Previously, he had made an effort to research the purple-clad young man standing before him. He knew this purple-clad young man had to be strong when he found out that the young man killed a Lu clan's elder with an 8th-level void transformation cultivation base. He was stunned when he found out about this monstrous person with such powerful ability. Moreover, he was also a grade 1 alchemist. And now, according to what the purple-clad young man said, he was an inscription master as well. Furthermore, he was an inscription master who managed to figure out the hidden formation. What do you think? Duan Lingtian responded with a question. At this moment, Lu Song, who was standing next to the old man, suddenly said, HMPH. Duan Lingtian, it doesn't matter if you're an inscription master or not. You're destined to die today. His deep voice was extremely cold when he spoke. When Lu Song spoke, there was killing intent and vengeance in his eyes as he stared at Duan Lingtian. He could not wait to slash Duan Lingtian with thousands of blades into 10,000 pieces. Lu Song. Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes at Lu Song. I'm curious, how did you all know that I'll be coming this way? You even set up the illusory formation beforehand. My observation skill is quite good, that fellow is definitely not in cahoots with both of you. Duan Lingtian looked at the old man next to Lu Song as he spoke. The old man was the one who set up the illusory formation. The illusory formation was merged with the hidden formation. It was extremely troublesome to set up and would take a few hours to complete. The fellow that Duan Lingtian mentioned was naturally the lecherous man that brought him here. First of all, Duan Lingtian was certain the lecherous man was working for Lu Song. It would have been impossible for Duan Lingtian not to notice if that was the case. That was why he thought it was odd. If the lecherous man was not Lu Song's man, how did Lu Song and the old man next to him manage to get here before they did? They arrived here earlier than they did. Duan Lingtian could tell from the illusory formation that they set up. That idiot, of course, he's not one of us. Lu Song glared at Duan Lingtian with killing intent as he grinned. He's just a pawn that I used. Also, do you really think the herb you want is here? Duan Lingtian could not help but frown at Lu Song's words. What do you mean by that? Duan Lingtian figured something was not right. Elder Guan, why don't you tell him what happened before he dies? Be quick about it, otherwise, it'll be difficult to kill him when that Lu Ji escapes from the formation, Lu Song said to the old man next to him. The way he looked at Duan Lingtian was as though he was looking at a dead man. Duan Lingtian, you killed my brother, today will be the day you die. I want you to die in despair and regret, Lu Song said as the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Yes, young master, the old man responded respectfully before he looked at Duan Lingtian and said coldly, how can you not understand this when you're also an inscription master? The thing that you want isn't here at all. The old man enunciated each word slowly. Each of the words was like a giant hammer smashing repeatedly on Duan Lingtian's chest. It caused the expression on his face to turn extremely unsightly. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath. He was initially confused, but his mind was clear now as he thought to himself, there's no soul-stabilizing grass here. All of a sudden, his eyes narrowed when he thought of something. Both of you planned this since the beginning? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Lu Song and the old man. It was obvious he had figured it out. Seems like you're not entirely dumb. Lu Song grinned. The fellow didn't see the soul-stabilizing grass nor did he encounter some demon at the peak of the void who was guarding the soul-stabilizing grass. Everything he saw was an illusion from the illusory formation you set up, am I right? Duan Lingtian asked in his deep voice as he stared at the old man. That's right, the old man said expressionlessly, if that bastard really did encounter a demon at the peak of the void, do you really think he would be able to escape? Naturally, the bastard the old man was referring to was the lecherous man that led Duan Lingtian here. I knew it. Duan Lingtian turned somber. He could not help but laugh at himself. He thought he was extremely lucky to obtain the soul-fixing root that Tian Wu needed and subsequently received news about the soul-stabilizing grass. So there was no soul-stabilizing grass after all. The soul-stabilizing grass the lecherous man saw was just an illusion created by the illusory formation the old man next to Lu Song set up. This included the demon at the peak of the void. It was all just an illusion. It was all part of Lu Song's scheme. Naturally, he knew what Lu Song's objective was. He wanted to avenge Lu Wai. Lu Wai was Lu Song's blood brother. Although Lu Song did not show any hints of wanting retribution when they first met, Duan Lingtian knew it was the contrary due to his spiritual energy. The deeper he hid the vengeance, the more terrifying it would be when it exploded. What happened today undoubtedly proved this point. Initially, everything was going according to plan, but what caught us by surprise is that you didn't enter the illusory formation, the old man continued to say. The old man and his young master planned to kill Duan Lingtian once he entered the illusory formation. However, they did not expect Duan Lingtian to discover the illusory formation. It doesn't matter whether he enters the illusory formation or not, it was not set up for him anyway. Now that Lu Ji has entered the illusory formation that we set up for him, he won't be coming out for now, Lu Song said. His voice had turned even colder now. His eyes gleamed with vengeance as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Lu Ji was the Lu clan's guardian elder, and he was a martial monarch powerhouse. Although the old man next to him was also a martial monarch powerhouse, he was not confident he could defeat Lu Ji. However, Lu Ji could no longer protect Duan Lingtian now that he had entered the illusory formation. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian was like a fish on his chopping board. He could do whatever he wanted to him. Duan Lingtian, do you regret killing my brother Lu Wai now? Lu Song asked coldly as he looked at Duan Lingtian. He did not wait for Duan Lingtian's response as he continued to say, "It's useless even if you regret it now. Today, I'll put you through hell to avenge my brother who's in heaven now." Lu Song's tone turned colder as he spoke. Regret. Faced with Lu Song who had fallen into the sea of vengeance, Duan Lingtian looked calm as he slowly said, "I'm so sorry, I might regret other things, but I don't regret killing your brother Lu Wai, not even now." Duan Lingtian's words were akin to giving a slap to Lu Song's face. "You're asking for death." Lu Song glared at Duan Lingtian with rage. His voice was dripping with killing intent. "What, do you want to fight me?" Duan Lingtian smiled. He looked amused when he saw Lu Song glaring coldly at him. Lu Song's face turned somber when he heard Duan Lingtian's words and said, "Of course, I'll fight you, but not now." Duan Lingtian was stunned. He did not know what Lu Song meant by that. Soon after, he figured out the meaning behind Lu Song's words. "Elder Guan, severe his Dantian. Don't kill him. I want to torture him slowly so he'll die in despair," Lu Song said through clenched teeth as he looked at the old man next to him. "Yes, young master," the old man replied and glared at Duan Lingtian. Origin energy rumbled on his body. It was majestic as it created terrifying airwaves that made the wind whistle in the air. At this moment, all the plants and flowers in the canyon were swaying violently from the wind. FWAH. Meanwhile, heaven and earth energy rumbled above the old man's head as the heaven and earth phenomenon formed. 2,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared. His origin energy alone was equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. It was the indication of a first-level martial monarch stage. However, that was not the end. Bang! The milky flame that was rising on the old man's body changed its color suddenly. It turned red before it rose into the sky, casting a red glow on the lingering fog. Whoosh! Another 2,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared in the air. First-level monarch stage fire profundity. There were green energy and bolts of lightning that looked like purple electric snakes entwined around the flame rising from the old man's body. Another 2,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes appeared. 9th advanced level thunder concept. 9th advanced level wind concept. Duan Lingtian, I bet you didn't expect this. Elder Guan's a powerful martial monarch, it's easy for him to kill you. Lu Song laughed maniacally, feeling pleased. He looked at Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, Duan Lingtian must be feeling terrified and hopeless at this moment. However, he stopped laughing when he saw how calm Duan Lingtian was. His face turned pale. There was a hint of embarrassment and rage in his eyes. "Elder Guan, do it!" Lu Song shouted in anger. Bang! An explosion reverberated in the air as the scorching aura spread in all directions. Chapter 1092. Duan Lingtian did not have time to react at all. The speed of the old man next to Lu Song was extremely fast. In just a blink of an eye, the world before Duan Lingtian's eyes was bathed in a red glow. It was as though he was standing in a sea of flames. The scorching aura that was sweeping toward him made sweat drip from his forehead to his face. Bang! When a loud explosion sounded, Duan Lingtian noticed a tremor in the sea of flames before it withdrew. It began to shrink before his eyes. Eventually, the sea of red flames withdrew until it revealed the silhouette of a person. It was an old man whose body was covered in flames. However, the flames on the old man's body was a little burnt out and weak now. Wah! The old man's face suddenly paled before he spat out a mouthful of blood as he shuddered. Blood fell on the ground like blooming red roses. You, the old man looked at the spot next to Duan Lingtian. To be more precise, his eyes were fixed on the red-clad lady standing next to Duan Lingtian. From the beginning until the end, the red-clad lady was just standing next to Duan Lingtian quietly. Neither Lu Song nor the old man saw her as a threat since the beginning. They did not think she would pose a threat to them because she was so young. However, both of their eyes were trained on her now. Soon after, they lifted their heads immediately as though they had noticed something. Both of them saw the heaven and earth energy that was rumbling above the red-clad lady's head just a second ago had now formed the heaven and earth phenomenon. Ancient horned dragon silhouettes were forming quickly. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, the number was still increasing. In the end, the ancient horned dragon silhouettes stopped at 8,000. 8,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Fire profundity, sword profundity, the old man exclaimed loudly. There was fear in his eyes when he saw the sword-shaped flame forming on the red-clad lady's body. At this moment, the old man took a deep breath as he looked at the red-clad lady in fear. He tried to probe by asking, Demon monarch. In the old man's opinion, the beautiful red-clad lady looked like she was only in her early 20s. A lady at such a young age had comprehended two types of monarch stage profundities. It was obvious the red-clad lady was a martial monarch powerhouse like him. However, it was impossible for a human martial artist to be a martial monarch powerhouse at such a young age. Therefore, it was very likely that the red-clad lady was a demon monarch powerhouse. A demon monarch powerhouse was the equivalent of a martial monarch martial artist. The red-clad lady ignored the old man's question. Instead, she coldly responded with another question, you want to kill him? If one took a closer look, one would notice her originally cold face had turned even colder at this moment. The red-clad lady stood there while her body was shrouded in a scorching sword-shaped flame. However, the old man whom she was staring at did not feel the heat. The only thing he felt was bone-piercing chills from all directions. The old man remained silent and did not answer the red-clad lady's question. However, there was a hint of fear in his eyes now. Anybody who has the intention to kill him, must die. The red-clad lady moved her beautiful lips. As soon as the word, die, was heard, she completely vanished before Lu Song's eyes. Be careful, Elder Guan. Lu Song exclaimed in panic as his facial expression changed dramatically. However, when he turned to look at the old man, he noticed the old man shuddering before he fell to the ground. There was no breath left in him. He's dead. The red-clad lady stood before the old man's corpse. Her clothes were flapping in the wind like burning flames. Elder Guan, Lu Song mumbled to himself as he shifted his focus from the old man's corpse to the red-clad lady. He was traumatized. His face had lost all its colors. Although he hated the red-clad lady for killing the biggest support he had, he did not dare to show it on his face. Plop! Lu Song kneeled on the ground and kowtowed to the red-clad lady as Duan Lingtian watched in shock. Please spare my life, please spare my life. The red-clad lady glanced at Lu Song begging on the ground and said coldly, I won't kill you. Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. Lu Song thanked her immediately and kowtowed even harder. His head soon began to bleed. Whoosh! The red-clad lady moved like a fire elf and soon arrived next to Duan Lingtian. She said softly, I don't want to dirty my hands by killing him. Let me do it, Duan Lingtian said as he smiled. The red-clad lady was none other than Feng Tianwu who had lost her memory. Duan Lingtian only found out the day before that Feng Tianwu had full control of her strength now after her memory loss. She was currently a first-level void transformation martial artist who had mastered two types of third-level monarch stage profundities. Without origin energy, she was able to perform attacks that were equivalent to 8,000 ancient horned dragons' strength just by depending on profundities. That was the reason why Duan Lingtian was fearless earlier. He knew he was safe as long as he had Tianwu by his side. Just as he had expected, Tianwu did not disappoint. She killed the martial monarch powerhouse next to Lu Song in just an instant. Her movement was as smooth as flowing water, and it was a clean cut. Anybody who has the intention to kill him, must die. What Feng Tianwu said to the martial monarch powerhouse next to Lu Song earlier echoed in Duan Lingtian's ears. Her words were cold with a hint of rage mixed in it. Duan Lingtian's heart was filled with warmth. Although he knew Tianwu still could not recall her past, he also knew that she knew him in the depth of her heart. He could see that from her anger earlier. Whoosh! The sound of wind whistling suddenly sounded at this moment. The sound seemed to be moving further and further away. It was Lu Song attempting to run away before Duan Lingtian had a chance to attack him. What a joke! Duan Lingtian killed an 8th-level void transformation Lu clan's elder before. Would it not be easy for him to kill a 5th-level void transformation martial artist like Lu Song? Run! Do you think you can run? Lu Song heard a mocking voice after he ran tens of meters away. He lifted his head to look at the source of the voice and saw a familiar silhouette waiting in front of him. A purple-clad young man appeared before him. How's it possible that you're so fast? Lu Song's eyes widened. He stopped moving and asked with fear written all over his face, you're a peak-level void stage powerhouse. Seems like you're not entirely dumb. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Song in surprise. His current ability was similar to a peak-level void stage powerhouse. Plop! Lu Song kneeled down once again and kowtowed as he begged since he knew it was impossible for him to escape from Duan Lingtian. However, he was kowtowing to a different person now. He was kowtowing to Duan Lingtian. Elder Duan, please spare my life. Elder Duan, please spare my life. I promise I won't return to the Lu clan as long as Elder Duan spares my worthless life. I won't contend for the clan leader position with Lu Bai anymore. Elder Duan, I beg you. I beg you. Lu Song did not stop kowtowing as he begged with all his might. He did not look like the Lu clan's first young master at this moment. He looked wretched as though he had no dignity. How's a coward like you worthy of taking over the position of clan leader? Duan Lingtian glanced at Lu Song in disgust. He did not bother to waste any more of his time on him and immediately killed him. If Lu Song did not try to seek for revenge from Duan Lingtian, perhaps he might still be the Lu clan's first young master. However, he chose to take revenge on Duan Lingtian. He was digging his own grave. Alright, where should I go now? At this moment, a familiar voice entered Duan Lingtian's ears. Elder Ji. He saw Lu Ji escaping from the illusory formation in the distance. Although it was not surprising, he was still rather shocked. He had observed the illusory formation with his spiritual energy, and he calculated it would take at least half an hour for an ordinary martial monarch powerhouse to escape it. However, Lu Ji only took 15 minutes to get out. Elder Duan. Lu Ji heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Duan Lingtian's voice. I finally got out. He thought he might have entered an illusory formation when he turned around and realized that Duan Lingtian, Feng Tianwu, and the lecherous middle-aged man who was walking in front of him had vanished. Subsequently, he began to look for the path to get out of the illusory formation. Eventually, he managed to escape after 15 minutes. Lu Ji's eyes suddenly narrowed. His eyes were trained on an old corpse on the ground. He frowned as he looked at the familiar face. Isn't that Guan Li? Lu Ji was one of the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders. Therefore, he recognized most of the elders in the clan, especially since he was an old man himself. One of the people he knew included Guan Li. He was the clan's foreign elder who was always at the Lu clan's first young master's side. Suddenly, Lu Ji lifted his head and looked into the distance as though he had noticed something. Lu Song. He recognized the corpse lying tens of meters away with just a glance. His eyes narrowed again. Elder Duan, what happened? Lu Ji took a deep breath and looked at Duan Lingtian skeptically. Elder Ji, don't you find it strange that they're here? Duan Lingtian asked with a faint smile on his face as he faced Lu Ji's skeptical look. Yes, it's a little strange. Lu Ji nodded. Actually, the thing that I want isn't here. Duan Lingtian sighed and told him everything that had happened without missing any details. What? Lu Ji's expression changed dramatically. Lu Song set this up to lure Elder Duan out so he could kill you. Chapter 1093. There was a hint of coldness in Lu Ji's eyes when he looked at the 2 corpses on the ground now after he took a deep breath and calmed his emotion. I've spoken to Lu Song before this, asking him to let go of the grudge he had. He promised me he won't seek revenge from Elder Duan. Lu Ji paused as he spoke to this point before he continued to say, I didn't expect him to break his own promise and come up with such a scheme to lure Elder Duan here. An angry expression appeared on Lu Ji's face as he spoke. He was angry that Lu Song deceived him. He did not doubt what Duan Lingtian told him. There was no reason for Duan Lingtian to lie to him. The fact that Lu Song and the old man next to him were here explained many things. But where did they find a martial monarch inscription master to set up the illusory formation? Lu Ji frowned in confusion. He was certain the illusory formation he was trapped in was the work of a monarch stage inscription master. Naturally, Lu Ji only asked that question because Duan Lingtian did not tell him the illusory formation was set up by the old man next to Lu Song. Therefore, Lu Ji thought the old man was just a peak-level void stage martial artist. Duan Lingtian arrived next to the old man's corpse when Lu Ji was lost in his thoughts. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a sword formed from origin energy appeared when Duan Lingtian lifted his arm. The sword dashed toward the old man's corpse at the speed of light. The sound of sword whistling in the air caught Lu Ji's attention. Subsequently, Lu Ji saw Duan Lingtian stabbing the sword into the old man's corpse and took out 3 fragments from his body. Initially, Lu Ji did not notice anything when he looked at the 3 fragments in Duan Lingtian's hand. However, his eyes were soon firmly fixed on the fragments when he took another look. He was eyeing one of the 3 fragments in Duan Lingtian's hands. There were scorching red flames around the fragment. Lu Ji was stunned. He only regained his senses after a while. He exclaimed in his deep voice, Profundity fragment. At this moment, Duan Lingtian put away the first-level monarch stage fire profundity and 2 ninth-level concept fragments in his hand and smiled lightly. It was great he obtained a profundity fragment. A profundity fragment was comparable to a martial monarch powerhouse. Although it was just a first-level monarch stage profundity fragment, if it was given to a martial artist at the 9th level void transformation cultivation base who had comprehended the 9th advanced level fire concept, that person would be able to comprehend the fire profundity and become a martial monarch powerhouse. When did this Guan Li break through to the martial monarch stage? Lu Ji snapped back to reality when Duan Lingtian put the 3 fragments away. He looked puzzled as he continued to stare at the old man's corpse. It was obvious Lu Ji did not know the old man next to Lu Song was a martial monarch powerhouse. At this moment, he could not help but exclaim inwardly, how unfortunate, a martial monarch powerhouse is dead just like that. In his opinion, if Guan Li was still alive, there was a high possibility that he would become the Lu clan's 4th guardian elder in the future. At that time, Lu clan's ability would elevate to the next level as a whole. That's not right. Lu Ji suddenly narrowed his eyes as though he had recalled something important. Since Guan Li was already a martial monarch powerhouse, the person who killed him was undoubtedly a martial monarch powerhouse as well. Furthermore, that person was definitely a martial monarch powerhouse that was stronger than Guan Li. Otherwise, how did that person manage to kill Guan Li? Elder Duan, who was the one who killed Guan Li? Lu Ji asked Duan Lingtian after he took a deep breath and looked at him. What do you think? Duan Lingtian replied calmly. It seemed like he knew Lu Ji would ask this question. Lu Ji was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's response. He looked at Duan Lingtian before moving his gaze to Feng Tianwu who was standing next to him. It's impossible this lady killed him. During the journey here, she depended on Elder Duan's origin energy to fly in the air. Lu Ji then shifted his gaze back to Duan Lingtian. That means, it's either Elder Duan or a powerhouse protecting Elder Duan in the dark, Lu Ji speculated. After comparing both, he thought the latter was more possible. Apart from Duan Lingtian's young age, he thought it's most likely the latter because Duan Lingtian was an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. It would be a little ridiculous if such a young grade 1 alchemist was also a martial monarch powerhouse. Therefore, he did not believe Duan Lingtian was a martial monarch powerhouse. Since there's nothing Elder Duan needs here, we'll return then. There was fear in Lu Ji's eyes when he looked at Duan Lingtian. He was even more polite when he spoke now. He could tell that Guan Li was killed in one blow judging from the injuries on his body. Although he did not know Guan Li's cultivation base, it was impossible for him to kill Guan Li in just a blow even if Guan Li was only a first-level monarch martial artist. That was the reason why he thought the powerhouse secretly protecting Duan Lingtian was more powerful than he was. That was why there was such a drastic change in the way he treated Duan Lingtian now. Duan Lingtian did not reject Lu Ji's suggestion. He left together with Lu Ji after he spoke to Feng Tianwu. They headed straight to the Lu clan's estate after leaving the place and arrived safe and sound after a day. Pa! A loud thud came from the Lu clan's main hall. The sound came from the clan leader Lu Rui slamming the new chair he had been sitting on. There were pieces of wood all over the floor. Lu Song, how dare you? Lu Rui shouted. There was rage in his voice. It was obvious that he had found out about what Lu Song did. Lu Rui took a deep breath and looked apologetically at the purple-clad young man before him. Elder Duan, this is our Lu clan's fault, please forgive us. The purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian. Since Lu Song's dead, let's just forget about it, Duan Lingtian said calmly. He had no intention of dwelling in the past. Yes, Lu Rui responded respectfully. The old man standing next to the purple-clad young man, Lu Ji, suddenly frowned. He thought he saw a glimpse of fear in the clan leader's eyes when he looked at the young Elder Duan. Does the clan leader knows about the powerhouse hiding behind Elder Duan? Even the clan leader's afraid of that powerhouse. Lu Ji speculated. Oh, right, Elder Duan, it just so happened that 2 people came on separate occasions on the day you left. They traded spirit fruits for void transformation martial artists with the grade 1 life recovery pills that you refined. Lu Rui changed the subject and talked about the task they had posted. 2 people, 2 spirit fruits. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. He did not expect such a pleasant surprise the moment he came back. I hope the 2 spirit fruits are ones of not consumed before. If that's the case, I can break through to the 9th level void transformation stage within a short period of time. Duan Lingtian's heart was beating fast. His body even trembled a little from the excitement even though no one noticed it. Duan Lingtian quickly suppressed the excitement and asked curiously, "Clan leader, how many grade 1 life recovery pills did you trade for the spirit fruits?" "One grade 1 life recovery pill for one spirit fruit," Lu Rui said honestly. "Only one?" Duan Lingtian was stunned when he heard that. People are willing to trade their spirit fruit for only one grade 1 life recovery pill. In his opinion, the value of a grade 1 life recovery pill was incomparable to a spirit fruit suitable for void transformation martial artists. Of course, nobody would trade if it's just an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill, but it's definitely not a loss to trade for the grade 1 life recovery pill with purity above 90% that Elder Duan refined, Lu Rui said as he shook his head. The value of the grade 1 life recovery pill with purity above 90% isn't limited to its medicinal efficacy, however, its medicinal efficacy is enough to make people fight for it. The grade 1 life recovery pill with purity above 90% has medicinal efficacy and healing effect that's 5 folds greater compared to the usual grade 1 life recovery pill with purity less than 70%. During critical times, such grade 1 life recovery pills could save lives. Even Lu Rui himself became excited as he spoke. Duan Lingtian was stunned when he heard that. At this moment, all he wanted to do was to return to his room to cultivate. After taking the 2 spirit fruits from Lu Rui, Duan Lingtian headed back to his residence with Feng Tianwu. Duan Lingtian passed the red phosphorus fruit that seemed like it was shrouded in red flames to Feng Tianwu and said, "Tianwu, consume this red phosphorus fruit for your cultivation. You take it." Although Feng Tianwu hardly spoke, she was straightforward when she did. "I've consumed this red phosphorus fruit once, it's useless for me to take it again, you can have it." Duan Lingtian told the truth when he realized Feng Tianwu was unwilling to take it. One of the 2 spirit fruits he obtained from Lu Rui was the red phosphorus fruit that he had consumed before. That fruit was given to him by Lu Rui previously. His current cultivation base was elevated due to the red phosphorus fruit that he consumed. Feng Tianwu only accepted the red phosphorus fruit after hearing what Duan Lingtian said. "Thank you." Feng Tianwu moved her beautiful lips and thanked Duan Lingtian immediately. "There's no need for thanks between you and me." Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu fondly before he bade her goodbye and returned to his room to cultivate. Feng Tianwu also returned to her room after Duan Lingtian left. However, what Duan Lingtian did not know was the 2 grade 1 life recovery pills with more than 90% purity created an uproar after they left the Lu clan. Chapter 1094. The Cloud Continent had Ruoxi River as the demarcation line dividing the outer land and the inner land. The outer land was mainly made of 4 directions, which were the northern outer land, southern outer land, western outer land, and eastern outer land. The northern mountain land was just an area located close to the Ruoxi River on the north of the southern outer land. There were 2 other areas on both sides of the northern mountain land closer to the Ruoxi River that belonged to the southern outer land. The northern divergent land located on the east side of northern mountain land was quite outstanding as well, even though it was not as popular as the northern mountain land. Naturally, the northern mountain land was popular was because of the O clan and the Lu clan. The 2 clans were ancient clans that had existed for 10,000 years. They were the 2 oldest forces in the entire southern outer land. More accurately, there were no other forces that had existed for 10,000 years like the O clan and the Lu clan in the entire outer land. Perhaps on Cloud Continent, there were forces similar to O clan and Lu clan that had existed for 10,000 years. However, those forces were located on the other side of the Ruoxi River, which was the inner land. The O clan and the Lu clan were the only 2 forces that had existed for 10,000 years in the outer land. Due to that, the northern mountain land was famous in the entire southern outer land. In the intersection of the northern mountain land and northern divergent land lay a vast city. The city was bustling with people constantly entering and exiting. The city was called the Alchemist City. There was a tower located at the central zone of the Alchemist City. The building was a landmark of the city. There were square plaques hanging outside of the tower from top to bottom with a word written on each of them. It read, "Alchemist Guild," if one was to read them from top to bottom. People did not stop walking in and out of the tower, similar to how there were always people entering and exiting the Alchemist City. If one took a closer look, one would notice that most people going in and out of the tower had a badge on their chest. It was the alchemist badge. One would be able to tell the grade of an alchemist just by looking at the badge on their chests. The tower in Alchemist City's central zone was where the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land was located. The Alchemist Guild that ruled the entire southern outer land. Whoosh! At this moment, a person flew at lightning speed and arrived above the tower in just a blink of an eye. However, that person stopped moving as soon as he arrived in the air above the tower. I'm here to see the guild master. There's something that I need to report to him. It was an azure-clad old man. He looked at an azure-clad middle-aged man who was blocking his way with fear in his eyes as though the azure-clad middle-aged man was some destructive beast. The azure-clad middle-aged man stood there emotionlessly. He seemed to be one with the heaven and earth, giving an immense pressure to the azure-clad old man. The azure-clad old man did not know when sweat began to drip down his forehead. Let him in. At that moment, an ancient voice came from the top of the tower. Although the voice sounded old, it was energetic. Yes, the azure-clad middle-aged man who did not move earlier responded respectfully when he heard that voice. Almost as soon as the azure-clad middle-aged man responded, he vanished entirely in the air as though he was never there in the first place. People from the Alchemist Guild are so powerful. I'm afraid only a handful of people in the southern outer land are able to defeat them, the azure-clad old man mumbled softly to himself and took a deep breath. When he regained his senses, he flew into the top tower and arrived in a spacious room. An old man in a silver robe sitting before a table at the side of the room was enjoying a cup of tea in his hand quietly. Guild Master. The azure-clad old man bowed respectfully to the silver-robed old man. Why didn't you stay put in the northern mountain land? Why did you come to the alchemist city? The silver-robed man asked. He did not even look at the azure-clad old man as he continued to enjoy his tea. Guild Master, I came to Alchemist City to show you this. The azure-clad old man lifted his arm and an exquisite box appeared in his hand. The entire box was made of jade, and it looked expensive. Unfortunately, the silver-robed old man did not even deign to turn his head. He sat there and calmly said, "You should know that I, Cheng He, think nothing of this ordinary things." There was arrogance in the old man's tone. The silver-robed old man before him was the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the entire southern outer land. Was there anything that he had never seen before? It was true that ordinary things were not worthy of his eyes. However, the azure-clad old man looked at the exquisite jade box in his hand and proceeded to say confidently, "Guild Master, I think this is definitely something worth looking at." Cheng He finally turned around after listening to what the azure-clad old man said. He looked at the azure-clad old man. "I'm curious, bring it to me." Cheng He knew the azure-clad old man before him very well. The old man used to follow by his side. Cheng He was currently the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land while the old man was an outstanding grade 2 alchemist. He knew the azure-clad old man would not have come if it was not important. Yes, the azure-clad old man responded respectfully. He took a few steps forward and placed the exquisite jade box on the table before Cheng He. Cheng He opened the jade box immediately. There was a pill in the jade box that he was extremely familiar with. He could not help but frown when he saw that. "This is the thing you want me to see?" Cheng He's face turned somber. He was ready to reprimand the old man for deceiving him when he suddenly fell silent. He was stunned. How's this possible? Cheng He stood up suddenly and stared at the pill in the exquisite jade box. He could not move his eyes away from the pill. His body began to tremble from his chaotic emotion. Miracle! It's a miracle! Cheng He took a deep breath after a while and picked up the pill from the exquisite jade box with his shaking hands. His movement was gentle as though he was caressing his lover. 91% purity. Cheng He finally suppressed his emotion and calmed down. However, he still could not take his eyes off the pill in his hand. Naturally, as a grade 1 alchemist, he could tell the grade 1 life recovery pill in his hand had 91% purity. He had only heard of pills with such purity, but he had never seen one before. There's a myth that's passed down in our alchemist guild. 10,000 years ago, there was once a powerful martial emperor who could refine pills with more than 90% purity. However, it's just a myth. It's been 10,000 years. Nobody knows if it's real or not. Cheng He had tens of thousands of thoughts running through his mind. He could not calm down at all. Cheng He finally calmed down and asked the azure-clad old man urgently, "Where did you get this grade 1 life recovery pill?" "Guild Master, my direct disciple obtained this from the Lu clan," the azure-clad old man responded immediately. Lu clan. Cheng He frowned after hearing what the azure-clad old man said. "I've been refining grade 1 pills for the Lu clan. The grade 1 life recovery pills I refined only have 70% purity at the most. But this grade 1 life recovery pill has purity above 90%. Cheng He said as he looked at the pill in his hand. He knew he did not refine this pill. Guild Master, you don't know this, a person with the surname Duan joined the Lu clan recently and became the clan's first interim advisor. He's a grade 1 alchemist, the azure-clad old man explained. He's the second grade 1 alchemist in the southern outer land after Guild Master. Grade 1 alchemist. Cheng He's eyes narrowed when he heard the azure-clad old man's words. He joined the Lu clan. Yes. The azure-clad old man nodded. Do you mean, this grade 1 life recovery pill was refined by the alchemist with the surname Duan? Cheng He asked. It's very likely. The azure-clad old man proceeded to say, Lu clan is giving out rewards earlier for those who provide spirit fruit suitable for void transformation martial artists, a spirit fruit for a grade 1 life recovery pill. Initially, everyone thought Lu clan was being stingy, but everyone went crazy when they found out the grade 1 life recovery pills Lu clan is using to trade have purity above 90%. The azure-clad old man paused for a while before he continued to speak. My direct disciple gave me this grade 1 life recovery pill right after he obtained it. I found it unusual, so I came to see you immediately. The azure-clad old man spoke in one breath. You did great. Cheng He nodded at the azure-clad old man as his eyes gleamed with a hint of satisfaction. It looks like I'll have to make a trip to the Lu clan to meet that alchemist whose surname is Duan. There's another thing, Guild Master. The azure-clad old man seemed to have recalled something. Cheng He looked at the azure-clad old man with doubts in his eyes. That alchemist with the surname Duan from the Lu clan, I heard he's a young man, he's not even 30 years old yet. The azure-clad old man said. Chapter 1095. What? Cheng He's eyes widened when he heard the azure-clad old man's words. The initial calmness had turned into shock. Grade 1 alchemist, and he's not even 30 yet. Are you sure? Cheng He looked at the azure-clad old man intently. I'm sure. The azure-clad old man nodded. I've seen him once during the alchemist competition together with the other alchemists. He revealed his grade 1 alchemist identity by displaying his grade 1 pill fire at that time and joined the Lu clan, the azure-clad old man said affirmatively. He's not even 30, a grade 1 alchemist. Cheng He narrowed his eyes. Since he's a grade 1 alchemist, it's unlikely he's a demon. But if he's a human, how did he become a grade 1 alchemist at such a young age? Furthermore, he managed to refine grade 1 pills with 90% purity. The more Cheng He thought about it, the more skeptical he became. It was too shocking for a human less than 30 years of age to become a grade 1 alchemist. Moreover, this grade 1 alchemist could refine grade 1 pills with 90% purity. That was unbelievable. Even the number 1 alchemist on Cloud Continent known to the public, the Guild Master of the Alchemist Guild's Supreme Main Guild can only refine grade 1 pills with 80% purity at the most. Moreover, it depends on luck as well. That Guild Master became a grade 1 alchemist when he was not even 40 years old and was known as the top genius among alchemists. However, he only managed to refine grade 1 pills with 80% purity after he was 100 years old. Even if that alchemist who joined Lu clan is more talented than the Guild Master since he became a grade 1 alchemist before turning 30, it's quite impossible for him to refine pills with more than 90% purity. Cheng He's thoughts were spinning. Finally, he came to a conclusion. He must have some unique medicine refinement technique. Even if that's not the case, he must be hiding some great secrets. Otherwise, it's impossible for a kid like him to refine pills with such high purity. A hint of greed appeared in Cheng He's eyes. Cheng He's expression returned to normal, and he said to the azure-clad old man, "You may return." Yes. The azure-clad old man dared not delay and left after he responded. After the azure-clad old man left, greed flashed through Cheng He's eyes once again as he looked at the grade 1 life recovery pill with 91% purity in his hand. He immediately flew out of the top of the tower. "Follow me to Northern Mountains Lu clan," Cheng He spoke to the air. Whoosh! As soon as Cheng He was done speaking, an azure silhouette appeared out of thin air with a rumble. It was the azure-clad middle-aged man who blocked the azure-clad old man's way earlier. "Let's go." Cheng He took the lead and flew away. He vanished in a blink of an eye. The azure-clad middle-aged man moved and soon caught up to Cheng He. He flew behind him like his shadow. On a platform in a spacious side hall in the Northern Mountains Lu clan. A purple-clad young man and a middle-aged man sat with their legs crossed on the platform. The middle-aged man's eyes were closed. The purple-clad young man looked at another middle-aged man and nodded to him. "Clan leader, let's begin." The middle-aged man nodded and lifted his arm. Mist surrounded the platform, shrouding both the middle-aged man and the purple-clad young man in a blink of an eye. If there was an inscription master here, he would be able to tell the platform shrouded in mist was the Profound Assimilation Formation. The Profound Assimilation Formation was an inscription formation that refined a massive number of concept fragments into concept energy and helped with boosting one's concepts at lightning speed. The Profound Assimilation Formation would consume a ridiculous number of concept fragments each time it was activated. It was impossible for a person to handle the consumption without a certain level of ability. Whoosh, 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 comma. As the mist rose, the middle-aged man who was standing outside lifted his arm once again as concept fragments shot out from his hand one after another and merged with the Profound Assimilation Formation. Upon closer inspection, one would see there were only 4 types of concept fragments the middle-aged man was tossing into the formation. They were the wind concept fragments sparkling in green energy, earth concept fragments with a khaki glow, thunder concept fragments rumbling in purple energy, and sword concept fragments with sword-shaped energy. Whoosh, 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 comma. Concept fragments shot out of the middle-aged man's hand as though he was getting rid of trash. In a blink of an eye, he had tossed out 1,000 fragments into the formation. The middle-aged man looked calm. It did not seem like he was unwilling at all. Is it worth it? An ancient suddenly sounded as the middle-aged man was tossing close to 2,000 concept fragments into the formation. Soon after, a skinny old man with white hair appeared next to the middle-aged man. The skinny old man wore a loose robe. He was handsome with white eyebrows and white beard. He resembled a saint more than an ordinary person. Former clan leader. The middle-aged man stopped whatever he was doing when he heard the old man's voice. When the old man appeared, he bowed at the old man respectfully without further delay. The middle-aged man was the clan leader of the Northern Mountains Lu clan. The 2 men in the Profound Assimilation Formation were obviously Duan Lingtian and Shang Quan. It's worth it. Lu Rui nodded solemnly after he greeted the old man. He knew the reason why the old man asked such a question. The close to 2,000 concept fragments he had tossed into the formation were almost all of the 4 types of concept fragments that Lu clan had in store. No matter how well off the Lu clan was, it would still more or less affect the clan. At the very least, it would affect all the talented Lu clan's disciples who had comprehended the 4 concepts, since they would not be able to enter the Profound Assimilation Formation to boost their concepts in the near future. What he had done would limit the Lu clan's disciples' growth to a certain level. That was the price he had to pay. However, he thought it was worth it. The old man's gleamed like stars in the sky. He proceeded to ask, I assume you're so certain of your decision because he's not just a grade 1 alchemist who's able to refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity. The old man had a teasing look on his face when he looked at Lu Rui. Lu Rui could not help but force a smile when he saw the way the old man looked at him. He knew the former clan leader must have figured something out. Otherwise, he would not have asked such a question. The old man was the clan's former clan leader, Lu Chu. Compared to Lu Rui's stunning medicine refinement talent, Lu Chu earned himself the position back then with his domineering martial ability. Although Lu Chu was not an alchemist, his talent in the martial Dao was terrifying. Even now, nobody in the Lu clan knew how powerful this former clan leader who willingly gave up his position was. However, everybody knew that the 3 Lu clan's guardian elders who were martial monarch powerhouses might not be able to defeat the former clan leader even if all 3 of them worked together. This former clan leader was the real guardian angel of the Lu clan. Former clan leader, please don't put me in a difficult position. I've taken the 9 heavenly tribulation oath before Elder Duan. I'll be killed by the thunder penalty if I tell you something I'm not supposed to, Lu Rui said helplessly. Although he was the current clan leader of Lu clan, he was nothing compared to the old man standing before him position-wise. The old man standing before him had one-of-a-kind power. The current clan leader would even be dismissed immediately should the old man wished for it. 9 heavenly tribulation, Lu Chu raised his white eyebrows. Somebody took the 9 heavenly tribulation oath earlier for no reason, causing 9 claps of thunder to rumble and wake me up from my sweet dream, so that brat was you. Brat. Perhaps the former clan leader, Lu Chu, was the only one who dared to call the current clan leader, Lu Rui, a brat in the entire Lu clan. However, Lu Rui was not mad. Instead, he looked apologetic. I didn't know you were resting, former clan leader. Alright, let's not talk about things that don't matter, Lu Chu interrupted and waved a hand dismissively. His eyes gleamed as he said, "Of course you can't tell me what it is since you took the 9 heavenly tribulation oath, but it shouldn't be a problem if you give me some hints here and there." A sly smile appeared on Lu Chu's face when he spoke. Lu Rui shook his head and said, "Former clan leader, you can't say that. If you figure out Elder Duan's real identity from my hint, I'll be killed by the 9 heavenly tribulations thunder penalty." Real identity? The smile on Lu Chu's face widened. Lu Rui forced a smile on his face when he realized he had said too much. Previously, the former clan leader did not know Lu Rui took extra care of Elder Duan because of his real identity. "Seems like our Elder Duan isn't someone simple, let me think about it." Lu Chu began to rack his brain as he muttered, "A grade 1 alchemist who's not even 30 years old and can refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity. Also, you're extremely respectful to him, his real identity's undoubtedly admirable even to a brat like you." Lu Chu continued to mull over it with a frown on his face. Lu Rui's lips twitched when he heard Lu Chu's mutterings. He did not expect the former clan leader would come so close to the truth with the limited information he was given. A grade 1 alchemist who refines grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity, became a grade 1 alchemist before turning 30. Moreover, his ability's pretty decent since he managed to kill an 8th level void transformation martial artist. Lu Chu continued to mutter to himself as he pondered. It was obvious he knew everything that Duan Lingtian had done since he joined the Lu clan. Chapter 1096. Lu Chu mumbled in Lu Rui's ears without missing a beat. Lu Rui forced a smile. He already knew fairly well that the former clan leader could probably figure out Elder Duan's real identity just as he had expected. Suddenly, Lu Chu, who was mumbling as he paced in perfect harmony, stopped moving. His pupils shrunk. "Lu Rui, that brat, is he the person that was mentioned in the handbook our ancestor left behind?" Lu Chu eventually asked while looking at Lu Rui. He saw Lu Rui nod before he could even finish what he was saying. Since he had already gotten the answer he wanted, he did not press the matter and ask any further. "Never would I have expected that our Lu clan would be in contact with him once again," Lu Chu could not help but exclaim after a moment of silence. It was clear that he had figured out Duan Lingtian's real identity. As the Lu clan's former clan leader, he knew fairly well about the contents of the handbook that only Lu clan leaders were allowed to read. There was a period of time where he treated the powerful being 10,000 years ago as his idol, and now, the reincarnation of his idol had appeared before his eyes. "Former clan leader, do you think I made the right choice? Is it worth it?" Lu Rui looked at Lu Chu and asked with a smile. Whoosh, 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 concept fragments shot out of Lu Chu's hand as he lifted his arm. Those were the 4 types of concept fragments that Duan Lingtian and Shangquan required. Very soon, 100 concept fragments were tossed in. However, there were only 100 concept fragments since those were all he had with him. "Lu Rui, you brat. Toss the 4 types of concept fragments that you have into the formation. What are you looking at? Do it right now." Lu Chu realized Lu Rui spacing out while he spoke to him and got a little angry. Yes, Lu Chu snapped back into reality and put in all 4 types of concept fragments he had in his spatial ring into the profound assimilation formation, leaving nothing behind. Lu Rui's lips did not stop twitching. Although Lu Chu did not answer him directly earlier, what Lu Chu had done was undoubtedly agreeing to his choice. There were at least 2,000 concept fragments that had been tossed into the profound assimilation formation from the very start. Almost there, Lu Rui thought to himself secretly. "No, these concept fragments are still insufficient. I've to go to the 3 old guys to get them to give us all the fragments they have." Lu Chu's voice was heard in Lu Rui's ears. At the next moment, all Lu Rui could feel was a gust of wind next to him before Lu Chu vanished. "Who was the one who doubted my choice earlier?" Lu Rui's lips twitched once again as he wore a confused expression. Naturally, Duan Lingtian had no idea what happened outside the profound assimilation formation. Even if he did, he would not have the time and energy to bother himself with such trivial matters. He had all his spiritual energy integrated into the profound assimilation formation and was controlling the formation on a whole different level. Compared to the time when he was at the 5 Elements sect, he was now able to control the profound assimilation formation with much more ease. The concept energy that he managed to absorb this time was no longer a mere tenth like it was in the past. His spiritual energy now allowed him to control more than 60% of concept energy easily, allowing it to merge into his body to boost his concept comprehension. Since he could now divide his consciousness into 3, he could absorb 3 different types of concept energy to boost his comprehension simultaneously. He put the concept energy refined from the earth concept fragments on hold as he continued improving his comprehension of the other 3 concepts. Sword concept, wind concept, thunder concept. Although he comprehended the fire concept as well, it was unnecessary for him to improve it intentionally. As soon as his wind concept improved, the fire concept would improve naturally. After all, his fire concept originated from the wind concept. In the beginning, he could not help Shang Quan as he was absorbing the concept energy refined by the sword concept fragments. It was what Shang Quan needed. Without knowledge of how much time had passed, Duan Lingtian could finally help Shang Quan improve his sword concept after he successfully broke his sword concept through to the 9th advanced level. Duan Lingtian partially absorbed the 60% concept energy refined from the sword concept fragments through the profound assimilation formation that he controlled, and he managed to successfully break through after absorbing merely 10% of it. After all, his sword concept had broken through to the 8th advanced level earlier. He was only 1 level from reaching the top, and naturally, that meant the peak of concept. The profound assimilation formation would refine the concept fragments while the concept energy lingering in it could only elevate a person's concept to the 9th advanced level. It was impossible to elevate it to a level higher. Whoosh! The concept energy refined by the sword concept fragments arrived before Shang Quan like a sharp sword piercing the sky with Duan Lingtian's maneuver. Whoosh! With the aid of Duan Lingtian's spiritual energy, the concept energy merged into Shang Quan's body successfully. Without noticing what was happening, Shang Quan quietly absorbed the concept energy that was sent his way. As Duan Lingtian absorbed the other 3 types of concept energy while elevating them at the same time, Shang Quan's sword concept was already elevating at a terrifying speed. I never expected Shang Quan's cultivation base to elevate to void interpretation stage with the spirit fruits within such a short period of time. I think it shouldn't be too hard for him to elevate it to the void transformation stage if he's given a little more time. Duan Lingtian was distracted from thinking about other matters while he absorbed the 3 types of concept energy greedily. I wonder how many concept fragments clan leader had tossed in. The concept energy refined through the profound assimilation formation is too much. Those that I'm controlling right now might be enough to elevate the 3 concepts I have to the 9th advanced level, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. It's only because of the spirit fruit for the void transformation martial artist that the clan leader gave earlier that I managed to successfully break through to the 9th level void transformation stage. Duan Lingtian's focus shifted his focus to his cultivation base. After consuming a spirit fruit after he returned from his trip, he managed to successfully break through to the 8th level void transformation stage. He consumed another spirit fruit earlier and successfully broke through to 9th level void transformation, leaving him only a step away from achieving the martial monarch stage. Now, since I've comprehended the 9th advanced level sword concept, I can begin to comprehend the sword profundity using the sword profundity fragments. As long as I'm given sufficient time, breaking through to the martial monarch stage is definite. Duan Lingtian's emotion was a little stirred as he thought of this point. He was eager to immediately bring out the sword profundity fragment from his spatial ring to begin his comprehension of the sword profundity. However, he managed to hold on to that thought. My priority now should be elevating the other 3 concepts. If I manage to elevate them to the 9th advanced level, then I'd be able to use relative profundity fragments to comprehend the profundities. Duan Lingtian was pumped as he thought about it. Absorb, 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 comma. Currently, Duan Lingtian was greedily absorbing the 3 types of majestic concept energy greedily. He could already clearly feel the continuous elevation of the wind, thunder and earth concepts. Time passed silently, and even if Duan Lingtian had no idea how long had passed, the only thing in his mind at that time was to continue absorbing greedily. He had no idea what was happening out there. Naturally, he had no idea that the guild master of the main alchemist guild in the southern outer land of Chenghe had arrived at the Lu clan. He remained in the clan and waited for Duan Lingtian to reveal himself. There were 2 silhouettes standing outside of the profound assimilation formation. There was a majestic middle-aged man and another old man who looked like a saint. Former clan leader, what's happening? The middle-aged man was the current clan leader of the Lu clan, Lu Rui. He could not help but frown as he anxiously asked the old man next to him, "It has been 2 months, why is Elder Duan not coming out yet?" "Don't worry," said the former clan leader, Lu Chu. Instead of being as anxious as Lu Rui, he said with a calm face, "Don't forget the person who created this profound assimilation formation. Lu Rui was stunned when he heard what Lu Chu said. At that moment, he seemed to recall something as he racked his brain. His pupils shrunk as he thought to himself, I almost forgot, according to the handbook that our ancestor left behind, it was the rebirth martial emperor who created the profound assimilation formation. Elder Duan's the reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, he knows the profound assimilation formation very well, he must have gotten the very best in there. Lu Rui was sure of it as he recalled everything. The longer he stays in the profound assimilation formation, the more he would be able to elevate himself, seems like Elder Duan is going to soar this time. Lu Rui exclaimed. It's just the Lu clan's luck to be able to meet Elder Duan, we've to cherish our great luck, Lu Qi said in all seriousness. Understood. Lu Rui nodded. He knew that even if the former clan leader did not remind him. Clan leader. At that moment, a hurried voice was heard outside, Miss Tian Wu's here. Miss Tian Wu. Lu Rui was stunned at first but later forced a smile. It seems like Miss Tian Wu is getting impatient from the wait, let her in if she wants to. A while later, a gorgeous red-clad lady whose face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost entered. Where is he? Feng Tianwu asked in a cold tone while looking at Lu Rui. Lu Rui looked at the profound assimilation formation nearby after hearing Feng Tianwu's question. All he could see was mist. Chapter 1097. Bang! A gust of flame arose from Feng Tianwu's body as Lu Rui looked at the profound assimilation formation. The rising flame formed a sword shape eventually. The sword-shaped flame rose into the sky while scorching airwaves swept out, it was majestic. All of a sudden, Lu Rui and Lu Chu felt that they were placed in a stove where they were burnt by fire. Whoosh! Before they managed to react to what happened, they saw the gorgeous red-clad lady with the extreme coldness on her face move. All they could see was the flame in her hand forming a sword before it shot toward the profound assimilation formation. A path would open from the shockwave wherever the flaming 3-foot sword passed while it gave off a crisp buzz. However, the powerful sword seemed as if it had entered cotton when it landed on the profound assimilation formation without so much as even making an impact. Whoosh, 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 comma. However, Feng Tianwu, who had a layer of frost on her beautiful face, did not give up from the failed attempt. She proceeded to continuously shoot sword-shaped flames from her hand as if it would never exhaust her. Feng Tianwu only showed signs of slowing down after shooting out quite a number of swords while the flaming sword she held in her hand collapsed and eventually vanished. Meanwhile, Lu Rui and Lu Chu, who were standing aside, were dumbstruck. Their eyes were locked on the sky above Feng Tianwu's head. The silhouettes of 8,000 ancient horned dragons faded before they eventually vanished. The strength of 8,000 ancient horned dragons. Lu Rui and Lu Chu looked at each other and saw the shock of disbelief in each other's eyes. Clearly, Feng Tianwu's abilities terrified them. Demon Monarch. The both of them had the same thought in the next moment. They speculated that Feng Tianwu was a demon monarch. To be precise, she was a powerful demon monarch. To them, it was impossible for Feng Tianwu to become a martial monarch powerhouse if she was a human only in her early 20s. However, what they did not know was that although Feng Tianwu could use monarch stage profundities, her cultivation base was only at the first level void transformation stage. Such a cultivation base was not even worth mentioning, especially when she had mastered the 2 profundities. Seems like the old guy next to Lu Song wasn't killed by the powerhouse hiding behind Elder Duan's back like Elder Ji mentioned, he had to be killed by Miss Tianwu. As opposed to Lu Chu's shock for knowing nothing, Lu Rui knew a lot more, which also caused him to think a lot more. Realizing her inability to break the profound assimilation formation, Feng Tianwu recalled the 2 profundities and waited quietly without moving. As time passed silently, Feng Tianwu remained still. She did not move from the beginning until the end. It was as if she had turned into a sculpture. Lu Rui, you brat. Do you know about her? Suddenly, Lu Chu, who could no longer suppress the curiosity in him, asked Lu Rui through a voice transmission. I only know that she's Elder Duan's friend, I've no idea about her exact background, Lu Rui replied through a voice transmission. If she is what I think she is, she must be a powerful demon monarch. Elder Duan is worthy of being a reincarnation if he actually managed to meet a demon monarch powerhouse who willingly gives her heart to him. Lu Chu exclaimed as he communicated with Lu Rui through voice transmissions. Lu Rui nodded in agreement. He thought the same as well. The world inside the profound assimilation formation was completely different. There were people concerned about Duan Lingtian's safety from the outside while he happily enjoyed himself in the baptism of concept energy that was going on inside the formation. Half awake, he could sense the tremendous elevation of his concepts with every passing second and minute. The elevation of his concepts would also elevate his abilities. Duan Lingtian indulged himself in such sensation. As Duan Lingtian continued indulging himself by absorbing the three types of concept energy, Shangquan, who sat cross-legged nearby, was also enjoying the baptism of concept energy refined from the sword concept fragments as well. To top it off, his sword concept elevated at a terrifying speed as well. However, Shangquan was in a deep sleep and was unable to feel anything happening to his personal elevation, while Duan Lingtian could feel every change in his concepts clearly. He absorbed concept energy in a completely passive mode. Time passed by silently. Duan Lingtian had no idea how long had passed, but he jerked before suddenly waking up. My wind concept, it has broken through to the 9th advanced level. Duan Lingtian did not open his eyes. Instead, he relished in the feeling the wind aura surrounding his body gave him as he slightly lifted his arms. At that moment, the wind surrounding his body was no different from natural wind. Duan Lingtian knew fairly well that this was how his wind concept acted when he had already achieved the peak comprehension. The next step would be comprehending the wind profundity. I am a true, peak-level void transformation martial artist now. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted as he thought to himself. Although his abilities were comparable to a regular peak-level void transformation martial artist before he entered the profound assimilation formation, it was still only his abilities. His cultivation base and comprehension he had of the different concepts were leaps and bounds from what a true peak-level void transformation martial artist understood. Now that his cultivation base had elevated to the 9th level void transformation stage, his two concepts broke through to the 9th advanced level. This was the symbol of a peak-level void transformation martial artist. Although his abilities were comparable to a peak-level void transformation martial artist in the past, it was merely a comparison for the sake of comparing, especially since he was not even considered a true peak-level void transformation martial artist at that time. However, he was now considered to be a true peak-level void transformation martial artist at that moment. Without noticing, the green energy surrounding his body began to rapidly rotate as if it had now transformed into a green divine dragon lingering around Duan Lingtian. Bang! All of a sudden, the green divine dragon opened its mouth and began shooting flames. The majestic flames rumbled before it morphed into a divine dragon in a blink of an eye. Now, it was a red divine dragon. Regardless of size or aura, the red divine dragon was similar to the green divine dragon. It was a divine dragon transformed from his 9th advanced level fire concept. There was no need for Duan Lingtian to comprehend his fire concept separately. As long as there was an elevation in his wind concept, his fire concept would follow suit. It was just like what was currently happening. Since Duan Lingtian had comprehended the 9th advanced level wind concept, the fire concept that he had never intentionally comprehended successfully broke through to the 9th advanced level as well. His fire concept originated from his wind concept. They were related to one another, so the changes came following the changes to his wind concept. At the next moment, the two divine dragons vanished as Duan Lingtian recalled both concepts. I should continue, seize the opportunity to elevate my thunder concept to the 9th advanced level. After that, I'd go for the earth concept. Since his sword and wind concept had broken through to the 9th advanced level in succession, Duan Lingtian proceeded to absorb the last two types of concept energy since he was feeling particularly focused. His thunder and earth concepts elevated at the speed of light. They were inching closer to catching up to his sword and wind concepts. South of the Liu clan estate where the Liu clan served their guests was an individual mansion with a courtyard slightly smaller than the mansion. However, any guest who was allowed to stay at the mansion upon arrival at the clan would definitely be someone with an outstanding identity. They would be treated as an honorable guest by the clan. Meanwhile, usual guests would stay in individual compounds without servants to serve them. However, there was an old man sitting in the pavilion at the front yard of an individual mansion in the south. He wore a silver robe and enjoyed his tea quietly as he sat before the stone table. The elder Duan of the Liu clan must be some big shot. Seems like he's really planning to let me wait for 3 to 5 months, the silver-robed old man said to the servant next to him calmly. Whoosh! Before the servant managed to react, a silhouette appeared in the pavilion out of thin air. The two servants standing on both sides of the pavilion had changed expressions from the absurd appearance of a man. Should I force the clan leader to give us an answer? It was an azure-clad middle-aged man who appeared. He asked the silver-robed old man in a testing manner as he looked at him. "There's no need for that." The silver-robed old man shook his head lightly. "We're here to look for someone, not for trouble. A guest should suit the convenience of the host. I can wait. Also, I have a strong gut feeling that the Lu clan elder will show himself very soon," the silver-robed old man mumbled softly. As the silver-robed old man was mumbling, the azure-clad middle-aged man vanished. The two servants had changed expressions once more as they shuddered from the scare. Soon, a month had passed. The mist that had accumulated in a spacious side hall in the Lu clan estate gradually faded away. Soon, the only person who was waiting in the side hall slowly opened her eyes as she cultivated cross-legged under the sky. Her pair of bright eyes looked like flowing water, and they could make all men fall with a mere glance. However, her drop-dead, seemingly frost-covered, gorgeous face gave off a cold aura that made it seem as if she would reject all who approached her. As the mist faded, two silhouettes in a platform clearly appeared before her eyes. She had completely ignored the middle-aged man. She immediately locked her eyes on a young purple-clad man and never once did she look away. Ah! The young purple-clad man who sat cross-legged on the platform exhaled and opened his eyes. His eyes were like bright lamps that could light up the starry night sky. Ha ha ha! At that moment, a laugh of excitement completely broke the silence in the side hall. Chapter 1098. Shang Quan was laughing. Before he followed Duan Lingtian into the profound assimilation formation, he found out from Duan Lingtian that martial artists who entered the formation would have their concepts elevated. The first thing he did when he woke up from a long, deep sleep was to try and cast his sword concept. When he cast the sword concept, he looked at the heaven and earth energy that was rumbling above his head. He witnessed the formation of the heaven and earth phenomenon that displayed 1,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. The heaven and earth energy drove by the sword concept alone formed 1,000 ancient horned dragon silhouettes. It was the symbol of the 9th advanced level sword concept. How could Shang Quan not be happy about it? Although he knew his sword concept would elevate before he entered the profound assimilation formation, he did not expect the elevation to be this drastic. It was so drastic to the point that it elevated all the way to 9th advanced level. It was the peak of the concept. He was one step away from achieving sword profundity. Profundity was usually exclusive to martial monarch powerhouses. However, he realized that profundity was not exclusive to martial monarch powerhouses when he witnessed Feng Tianwu casting the fire and sword profundity. His situation was similar to Feng Tianwu. She was only a first-level void transformation martial artist who had comprehended 2 profundities. She comprehended 2 monarch stage profundities. Moreover, those were not ordinary profundities. It was not a joke. Compared to ordinary monarch stage profundity, she possessed 4,000 ancient horned dragon strength from each profundity. Feng Tianwu was only a first-level void transformation martial artist, but she had comprehended 3rd-level monarch stage fire profundity and 3rd-level monarch stage sword profundity. Young master, my sword concept broke through to the 9th advanced level. Shang Quan was elated as he looked excitedly at Duan Lingtian. There was a hint of pride in the depth of his eyes as well. Not bad. Duan Lingtian only nodded when he heard Shang Quan's words. He was not surprised at all. He had already expected Shang Quan's breakthrough. 9th advanced level sword concept. However, just because Duan Lingtian was not surprised, it did not mean that Feng Tian was not surprised too. Although her expression remained cold, there was a hint of surprise in the depth of her bright eyes. She was surprised by Shang Quan's breakthrough. She had seen Shang Quan casting his sword concept previously. Therefore, she knew the level of Shang Quan's sword concept very well. To her surprise, Shang Quan had comprehended the 9th advanced level sword concept. Young master, your comprehension is so much stronger than mine. This time, your improvement must be much more drastic than mine. Shang Quan calmed his chaotic emotion as he looked at Duan Lingtian. When Shang Quan spoke, Feng Tianwu looked at Duan Lingtian. There was curiosity in her bright eyes. She was curious about Duan Lingtian's breakthrough in the profound assimilation formation. It's not bad, I guess. Duan Lingtian only gave a short and calm response to Shang Quan's question. He then looked at Feng Tianwu. Tianwu, why are you here? Waiting for you, Feng Tianwu responded. As usual, she was stingy with her words. Ever since she lost her memory, she had been aloof and taciturn even though she had learned about her past from Duan Lingtian. Therefore, Duan Lingtian was not surprised by Feng Tianwu's short response. Although he was not surprised, his heart jolted when he heard her response. Based on Feng Tianwu's response, she had been waiting for him here for a long time. He could not help but feel moved and mumbled, "Silly girl. Let's head back," Duan Lingtian said to Feng Tian and Shang Quan. He seemed to have suddenly recalled something. He had a look of concern on his face when he walked out of the side hall. Feng Tianwu and Shang Quan were stunned when they saw Duan Lingtian's abrupt departure. They had no idea why Duan Lingtian had left in such urgency. They followed him curiously. After leaving the side hall, Duan Lingtian flew to the east side of the Lu clan's estate. It was the direction of the mansion he was currently living in. It seemed as though he was missing home. Naturally, he did not miss his current home. He was just eager to head back so he could comprehend profundity using profundity fragment. His cultivation base was not at the elementary stage of the 9th level void transformation. With the help of the rebirth pills overbearing medicinal efficacy and the spirit fruit he consumed earlier, his cultivation base had reached the peak of the 9th level void transformation. He was just half a step away from achieving the martial monarch stage. The only thing lacking was profundity. One could say that everything is in order except for the final push. As soon as he comprehended profundity, his cultivation base would successfully break through to the martial monarch stage. At that time, he would become a martial monarch powerhouse. A martial monarch powerhouse would not only have powerful abilities like outstanding martial artists, but he would also have everlasting youth. Everlasting youth. What did that mean? It meant that he would maintain his appearance at the moment he broke through to the martial monarch stage for the rest of his life as long as he was willing. Naturally, powerhouses who had broken through to the martial monarch stage could opt for natural aging if they wanted to. In fact, many martial monarch powerhouses opted for the latter. There were many martial artists on Cloud Continent who had broken through to the martial monarch stage when they were in their middle age. If they wanted, they could maintain their middle-aged appearance until they died. However, they were not solitary people. Their mindset would change when they looked at their sons growing up to become adults, turning into middle-aged men before they eventually grew old. Many of them chose to age naturally after breaking through to the martial monarch so they would look age-appropriate for their offsprings. Would it not look ridiculous for a powerhouse to appear as though he was in his middle age while his grandchildren appeared older than him? After all, none of the martial monarch powerhouses could guarantee their sons and grandchildren would break through to the martial monarch stage to maintain their youth. Additionally, many martial monarch powerhouses also did not choose everlasting youth for the sake of their wives. How would a martial monarch powerhouse feel having to look on as his beloved wife aged day by day? How would he feel as he witnessed her losing her teeth, her hair turning white and wrinkles appearing on her face while he maintained his middle-age appearance? Naturally, every martial monarch powerhouses had different decisions. In the Cloud Continent's history, there were some young martial monarch powerhouses who had chosen everlasting youth. They watched as their elderly children called them father, and their elderly grandchildren called them grandfather. In their opinion, there was nothing odd about it. Seniority had nothing to do with outer appearance. Martial monarch stage. Martial monarch stage. Duan Lingtian was eager to head back. He wished he had a pair of wings so he could fly faster. However, many thoughts were running through his mind the entire time. The sword concept, wind concept, thunder concept, and earth concept I had comprehended had broken through to the 9th advanced level. I have all 4 profundity fragments for them. I can divide my consciousness into 3 thanks to the after effect of the Devil Seal tablet that I used twice. I can simultaneously comprehend 3 different profundities through the profundity fragments. Which 3 concepts should I pick to turn into profundities first? This is annoying. Duan Lingtian was caught in a dilemma. Why do all 4 concepts have to break through to the 9th advanced level at the same time? Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's a good thing to comprehend too many 9th advanced level concepts. Duan Lingtian sighed. If someone else heard that, they would probably give him a slap and call him an ingrate and shameless. I must save a slot for the wind concept among the 3 concepts. I must comprehend the wind profundity through the wind profundity fragment. Naturally, he would use the monarch stage profundity fragments to break through to the monarch stage profundity. Although he had an emperor stage wind profundity fragment with him, he could not use it just yet. To be exact, he would have to wait until he had comprehended the 9th level monarch stage wind profundity to be able to use the emperor stage wind profundity fragment. However, apart from the second-level Emperor stage wind profundity fragment that he obtained from the Martial Emperor's secret treasure previously, he had an 8th-level Monarch stage wind profundity fragment as well. He could not use the former currently, but he could use the latter. He planned to use the latter to comprehend the wind profundity once and for all and break through to Martial Monarch stage to become a Martial Monarch powerhouse. He prioritized the breakthrough of the wind concept because the fire profundity would be simultaneously raised to the same level. Giving the wind concept priority was undoubtedly a wise choice. Soon after, Duan Lingtian returned to the mansion he was residing in. After he spoke to Feng Tianwu and Shang Quan, he returned to his room immediately and sat on his bed with his legs crossed. Meanwhile, he held 3 fragments in his hands. Chapter 1099. There were 3 profundity fragment. More accurately, there were 3 Monarch stage profundity fragment. One of it was undoubtedly the Monarch stage wind profundity fragment. With it, one could progress from the 9th level advanced wind concept and comprehend the Monarch stage wind profundity in a short amount of time. Wind concept was the concept Duan Lingtian wanted to elevate. If he managed to transform the wind concept into wind profundity, he would automatically comprehend another profundity as well. It was the fire profundity. Apart from that, he had 2 other Monarch stage profundity fragments. One of them was the 3rd level Monarch stage sword profundity fragment. It was different from the previous profundity fragment he obtained from the Martial Emperor's secret treasure. This profundity fragment was one of the 3 profundity fragments he found within the body of the Tempest Sword Monarch from the Sword Monarch's treasure. At that time, there were 2 other profundity fragments within the Tempest Sword Monarch's body. A 3rd-level Monarch stage wind profundity fragment and a 3rd-level Monarch stage thunder profundity fragment. He exchanged the former for an 8th-level Monarch stage thunder profundity fragment, and he used the latter to return a favor to the 5-element sect. This sword profundity fragment was the only sword profundity fragment in Duan Lingtian's hand. The reason he was in a rush to break through the sword concept and complete the transformation into sword profundity was due to the word, sword, left behind at the azure forest of the Imperial Kingdom by the sword saint, Feng Qingyang. The word, sword, contained an obscure message. He had memorized it so that he could comprehend it any time he wanted. The word, sword, contained the sword Dao that could help him elevate his sword concept to sword profundity. That was the reason he picked the sword concept to comprehend. He had a feeling that once he comprehended the sword profundity, it would improve tremendously when he comprehended the sword Dao in the word, sword. The last profundity Duan Lingtian chose to comprehend was the earth profundity. The choice was obvious since the earth profundity was similar to the earth concept. It could communicate and draw support from earth energy if one was close to the ground. It was one of the strength of the earth profundity. The thunder profundity fragment was temporarily abandoned by Duan Lingtian. I'll comprehend these 3 profundities first. Soon after, Duan Lingtian gently closed his eyes and calmed his heart while he comprehended 3 different profundities through 3 different profundity fragments. Currently, Duan Lingtian's cultivation base was at the 9th level void transformation, and he had comprehended 5 types of 9th level void transformation stage concepts. He was no doubt an anomaly among all the martial artists at the peak of the void. When the 5 types of 9th level void transformation stage concepts pressured each other, it would be very easy for him to comprehend the profundity even though it was slower compared to using profundity fragments to comprehend it. Moreover, Duan Lingtian could simultaneously comprehend 3 different profundities through 3 different profundity fragments. The speed of him comprehending profundities would definitely be faster. Elder Duan. At the moment when Duan Lingtian was about to begin comprehending the 3 profundities, an urgent voice sounded from outside the room. The clan leader's here. He's waiting for you at the main hall. The clan leader. Duan Lingtian opened his eyes and knitted his brows together. Couldn't he come earlier or later? Does it have to be now? Although he complained about it, he still put the 3 profundity fragments away and stopped his comprehension. He got off the bed and left the room. Shortly after, Duan Lingtian arrived at the main hall. Elder Duan, you've finally exited the profound assimilation formation after 3 months. It must have been a fruitful trip for Elder Duan. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui's eyes brightened after he saw Duan Lingtian. It was all right. Duan Lingtian nodded, but he did not show much joy on his face. Fruitful trip, naturally. After entering the profound assimilation formation, he managed to elevate all his concepts to its peak, which is the 9th level advanced stage. Moreover, his wind concept could raise his fire concept to the same level. That meant he actually mastered 5 types of 9th level advanced concepts. 5 types of 9th level advanced concepts were equivalent to 5 types of 9th level void transformation stage concepts. What does that mean? It meant that if he used all 5 types of 9th level void transformation stage concepts, it would be equivalent to 5,000 ancient horned dragons' strength without the origin energy, the support from earth energy, and the fueling of the fire concept with the wind concept. It would be even more frightening if he used the earth energy and fuel the fire concept with the wind concept. Currently, I should be invincible compared to everyone below the martial monarch stage. Duan Lingtian secretly thought. Elder Duan, I know I shouldn't bother you since you just came out of the profound assimilation formation, Lu Rui said slowly as looked at Duan Lingtian. When he said that, Duan Lingtian gave him a look. It made him pause and smiled bitterly in response. However, I'm out of ideas this time. Guild Master Cheng had been waiting for 3 months, Lu Rui continued to say. There a helpless expression on his face when he spoke. Guild Master Cheng, he had waited for 3 whole months. When Duan Lingtian heard Lu Rui's words, he was puzzled. Who's that? Why did he wait for me for such a long time? Guild Master Cheng is the Guild Master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. He's also a grade 1 alchemist like you, Lu Rui answered Duan Lingtian. Guild Master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Why is he looking for me? Duan Lingtian asked with furrowed brows. There was a hint of annoyance in his voice. He should have been comprehending profundities through the profundity fragments now, but he was interrupted because of some guild master from the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Due to that, he had an extremely bad impression of the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land even though he had not met him. He didn't say, but, I'm certain it has something to do with the grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity that you've refined. Lu Rui guessed. Duan Lingtian nodded in agreement. It was the only possibility. Go and tell him that I'm not interested in meeting him no matter who he is, Duan Lingtian said in a slightly nonchalant tone. He would not be bothered even if it was the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's supreme main guild from the inner land, let alone a mere guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Haha, I came from afar just to have a chat with you and exchange knowledge in medicine refinement. Elder Duan, you don't have to keep me 1,000 miles away. Before Lu Rui could respond, a loud laughter sounded from outside the main hall. Following that, Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui saw 2 figures walking into the main hall. The one in the lead was a silver-clad old man, while a green-clad middle-aged man followed at the back. Unlike the bright smile on the old man's face, the green-clad middle-aged man had an indifferent expression. The voice from earlier obviously belonged to the silver-clad old man. Lu Rui's face sank when he saw their sudden appearance. This place was not just Elder Duan's temporary residence, it was also the Lu clan's estate. Their sudden entrance was not only disrespectful to Duan Lingtian, but it was also disrespectful to the Lu clan. Elder Duan, I'm Cheng He, the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, the silver-clad old man introduced himself to Duan Lingtian. Cheng He did not seem to notice the dark expression on Duan Lingtian's face and proceeded to seem to introduce the green-clad middle-aged man. This person behind me is the guard provided by the Alchemist Guild in the inner land, his name is Leng Kai. Leng Kai lifted his head slightly and nodded faintly as a greeting when he heard Cheng He's introduction. That's how Leng Kai is. I hope Elder Duan don't mind. Cheng He looked at Duan Lingtian as the smile on his face turned brighter. How he is has nothing to do with me. However, you entered my residence without my permission. Duan Lingtian paused as he looked at Cheng He coldly. He continued to say, your parents, didn't they teach you manners? His tone turned scathing as he continued talking. Your parents did not teach you manners. After Duan Lingtian said that, Lu Rui who standing next to him instantly froze. Although he could see that Elder Duan was mad, he did not expect him to be so blunt. This old man before them was the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. He was the top grade 1 alchemist in the southern outer land. Naturally, he was the top alchemist before Elder Duan appeared. However, he was still a valuable grade 1 alchemist after all. Elder Duan had undoubtedly disrespected him with the way he criticized him. However, Lu Rui disregarded this matter. He remembered Elder Duan was not an ordinary person. 10,000 years ago, people like Cheng He would not even be qualified to tie Elder Duan's shoelaces in his past life. Shua. The minute Duan Lingtian finished his sentence, Cheng Yi's smile froze on his face before it turned distorted. The green-clad middle-aged man looked at Duan Lingtian again with coldness in his eyes. He exuded a terrifying aura from his body that was headed straight for Duan Lingtian like blades and swords. Wherever the aura passed, the air seemed to condense. Duan Lingtian remained unperturbed. He did not take it seriously at all. Although Duan Lingtian did not take it seriously, it did not mean others would not take it seriously. Lu Rui moved like a breeze and stood in front of Duan Lingtian. Boom! The vast aura pressed against Lu Rui. It caused him to turn red before he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood splattered all over the ground. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 1100. Boom! Lu Rui was injured by Leng Qi's aura, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Leng Qi's aura swept out again and pressed against him, forcing him to take a few steps back. With every step back, Lu Rui spat out a mouthful of blood as his face turned pale. Boom! Despair showed in Lu Rui's eyes when he saw the third wave of Leng Qi's aura swept out. Although he was a martial artist at the peak of the void, his strength was nothing compared to the Lu clan's three major guardian elders who were martial monarch powerhouses. He was just like an ant at their mercy in the eyes of martial monarch powerhouses like Leng Kai. He was already breathless and injured when the other party merely exuded his aura. If Leng Kai did that a few more times, it was highly likely he would be killed by Leng Qi's aura. Humph! At the moment when Lu Rui thought he was going to die, he felt a strong breeze next to him. A purple figure stood in front of him and shielded him. Elder Duan. Lu Rui's face changed dramatically when he saw the familiar figure. The reason he had rushed to the front was to help Elder Duan. That was why he became anxious when he saw Duan Lingtian shielding him. He thought everything he had done was in vain. However, his expression froze on his face in the very next moment. God! What did he see? He watched as the purple-clad young man stood in front of him and allowed Leng Qi's aura to sweep over his body. However, he was not affected at all. He stood there as still as a mountain. Elder Duan's strength, he's so strong. Lu Rui's face was filled with amazement. Although he knew about Elder Duan's background, and how he had killed one of their Lu clan's elder who was at the 8th level void transformation, he thought Elder Duan's cultivation was at most on par with him, which was at the peak of the void. However, the current scene had undoubtedly changed his view of Elder Duan. He's worthy of being the third reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor. He's already at the martial monarch stage at such a young age. Lu Rui thought Duan Lingtian was a martial monarch powerhouse based on the fact that he could directly face Leng Qi's aura. It made one wonder what his expression would be like if he found out Duan Lingtian was not a martial monarch powerhouse. On the other hand, Cheng Yi, who was initially calm, was stunned. He had a solemn expression on his face when he saw Duan Lingtian was unaffected by Leng Qi's aura. Who is he? Not only is he a grade 1 alchemist at such a young age, but he could also face Leng Qi's aura. Cheng Yi was completely shocked by Duan Lingtian. When Leng Kai realized his aura did not affect Duan Lingtian, there were some changes on his indifferent face. Suddenly, Leng Kai stepped forward. His hand extended out as fast as lightning as it headed toward Duan Lingtian. Boom, 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 In that instance, the heaven and earth energy stirred at the void above Leng Qi's head. It was followed by a thunderous air explosion that showed his power. Duan Lingtian's face sank. His eyes gleamed coldly when he saw Leng Kai aiming his hand at him. Currently, his strength had greatly improved. Hence, he was able to stay as calm as still water in the face of a martial monarch powerhouse like Leng Kai. Duan Lingtian was calm, and his face turned solemn. He could see that Leng Kai was not an ordinary martial monarch powerhouse. At least, he was not one that Duan Lingtian was a match for, even though Duan Lingtian's strength was comparable to ordinary martial monarch powerhouses. When Duan Lingtian was about to retreat, a short-lived sound of sword whistling reverberated in the air. He was stunned when he heard how familiar that sound was. In the next moment, he saw a sword-shaped flame sweeping toward Leng Kai with great momentum. Tian Wu. When Duan Lingtian saw the sword-shaped flame, his face changed dramatically. He recognized the person. It was Feng Tian Wu. More accurately, it was the Feng Tian Wu who had amnesia. Duan Lingtian moved in the next moment. However, he did not rush toward Leng Kai, nor did he rush to Feng Tian Wu, who was attacking Leng Kai with her sword. His target was Cheng Yi, who stood at the side while he watched all the action. Whirlwind. Instantly, Duan Lingtian seemed to have transformed into a hurricane and flew toward Chenghe. He did not hold back and exerted all his strength. All 5 9th-level void transformation concepts were cast. It was equivalent to 5,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. The 9th-level advance Earth concept drew support from Earth energy and added another 500 ancient horned dragons' strength. He fueled the fire concept with the wind concept. As the 9th-level advanced wind concept merged with the 9th-level advanced fire concept, the latter surged and added another 500 ancient horned dragons' strength. All of the concepts Duan Lingtian had comprehended when fully exerted were equivalent to 6,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Additionally, his 9th-level void transformation's origin energy gave him another 1,200 ancient horned dragons' strength. His current speed was driven by 7,200 ancient horned dragons' strength. Due to that, Duan Lingtian was so fast that Chenghe, who was a first-level martial monarch, could not react in time. An ordinary first-level martial monarch stage martial artist's origin energy fully exerted was equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. A first-level monarch stage profundity was equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. 2 types of 9th-level void transformation stage concepts were equivalent to 2,000 ancient horned dragons' strength as well. In total, it was 6,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. Chenghe belonged in the ordinary category. Therefore, Duan Lingtian had an additional 1,200 ancient horned dragons' strength compared to Chenghe. In an instant, Duan Lingtian arrived near him. On the other hand, Leng Qi's killing intent rose when he faced Feng Tianwu. However, his face changed dramatically, and he became anxious when he noticed Chenghe's situation. Following that, he hurriedly swatted Feng Tianwu's attacking sword aside. Meanwhile, Chenghe quickly flew to the side as his piercing gaze shifted from Feng Tianwu to Duan Lingtian. Boom! His palm met with Feng Tianwu's sword that contained more than 8,000 ancient horned dragons' strength. It completely neutralized the force contained in Feng Tianwu's sword and forced her to take a few steps back. Feng Tianwu paled, and her body was on the verge of collapsing. It was apparent she was suffering from internal injuries. Don't kill him. At this time, an urgent voice sounded and caused Feng Tianwu and Lu Rui's faces to change dramatically. Bang! Feng Tianwu was startled by a large explosion. There was panic in her eyes. In the distance, the purple-clad young man was batted away with a boom. The purple-clad young man had decided to charge at Chenghe when he saw Feng Tianwu. It was a case of trying to besiege Wei to rescue Zhao. Ouch! Duan Lingtian vomited blood as his body flew out like a fired arrow. The only thing he felt was the sharp pain in his body. That feeling was very uncomfortable. The part that hurt the most was his chest, followed by his internal organs and finally all over his body. Pain. It hurts. These were the thoughts running through Duan Lingtian's mind. Due to his injuries, Duan Lingtian found it hard to mobilize his origin energy. Due to that, he was batted off by Leng Qi's palm. He flew back in the distance before he finally fell to the ground. A flame-like figure immediately lunged toward Duan Lingtian. Although the red-clad woman did not say anything, the anxiety between her brows displayed her emotion. Elder Duan. Lu Rui's face changed dramatically as he hurried over. When he flew toward the injured Duan Lingtian who had fallen to the ground, a weird bead appeared in his hand. He crushed it the instant it appeared. Duan Lingtian would have recognized the bead if he saw it. It was a bead inscribed with detection inscription. Once it was crushed, it would be detected by the intended people, and they would come rushing over. In the entire Lu clan, there were only a few people Lu Rui could summon by crushing the bead. They had to be at the martial monarch stage or higher. I'm alright. Duan Lingtian, who laid on the ground, was miraculously able to stand after he consumed a grade 1 life recovery pill he had refined. Undoubtedly worthy of being a grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity. Chenghe's eyes brightened as he witnessed this scene. His breathing instantly quickened. Imagine it. If he could obtain the method of refining grade 1 pills with such high purity, his status in the Alchemist Guild of Cloud Continent would definitely rise. It was even possible for him to be the guild master of the Cloud Continent's Alchemist Guild, the supreme main guild. At that time, he would be worshipped by other alchemists. I must obtain the method of refining grade 1 pills with such high purity. Chenghe's gaze gradually turned steely. This was the reason why he shouted at Leng Kai to spare Duan Lingtian's life. He still wanted to obtain the method of refining grade 1 pills with such high purity from Duan Lingtian. He would have come in vain if Duan Lingtian died. Duan Lingtian had accurately guessed Cheng Yi's thought. That was why he had risked himself to save Feng Tianwu with the tactic of besieging Wei to rescue Zhao. If he did not do that, Feng Tianwu would have certainly died. Although he risked his life by doing so, he made a gamble that Chen He would stop Leng Kai from killing him. The fact proved that he was right. Duan Lingtian, don't blame me for being brazen since I gave you face, and you didn't want it. Cheng He looked at Duan Lingtian and coldly said, I'll spare your life today if you tell me the method of refining grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity.